Hi, kings and queens. Welcome to Spilling Honey, the podcast that encourages you to spill it, honey. So, in lieu of Domestic Violence Awareness Month, I have two of my most favorite people here with me, of course, to dive into something that I feel like most, most, if not all people, won't really touch on. Of course, domestic violence is one of those subjects that is extremely touchy. And of course, before we start, I just want to thank the both of you in advance for sharing your story, for sharing your testimony, because like I said, I do know that so many people are like ashamed sometimes to even admit that they have been through situations like this, that they have, that they're a survivor, that they have overcome these things, or that they are currently dealing or experiencing these things right now. It just, like I said, it carries a ton of shame, a ton of embarrassment. So I just want to say hats off to the both of y'all for being a vessel in this moment. I know that this is tough and I know that y'all was avoiding it, but I promise you, this is so important because it's somebody out here that needs to hear y'all story. It's a male out here, it's a female out here, it's a young girl, a young guy, somebody out here that needs to hear your story. They need to hear these stories because people just sweep it under the rug so much. So this is so important. So I just want to thank y'all first. Secondly, I also want to go ahead and put out another disclaimer here. And I just want to let y'all know, of course, first and foremost, that I love you both. And I don't want anything that I say in this episode to to come off like offensive or to, to come off wrong, because of course I'm coming at this situation. My questions are going to be coming at it from a person who has never experienced domestic violence. So being as though I'm talking to two people that have, I don't want my questions to come off offensive to y'all. I don't want y'all to take it personally. I just want y'all to be really, really honest. And please correct me if I am wrong in my questioning. So I just wanted to get that out. Lastly, I want to say, basically, I asked, that you guys come 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 into this interview with the or have the perspective or give the perspective to somebody that maybe didn't make it out. What is something that you think that they should have heard, or basically somebody that is in the midst of it now, touch them in a way that, given if they hear this, they can be like, oh wow, they speaking to me, So come at it from the perspective, like I said, of someone who didn't make it out, but someone that, it was too late for them. They didn't come out on the other side of it. Maybe they got killed as a result of it. Maybe they got hurt as a result of it. And what do you think that they would have wanted to hear? Or, what advice could you give, that you think if they had had a chance to hear it, they would have had the courage to make it out, or they would have been able to make it out in whatever way. So, okay. So with that said, my first question for you ladies is, how would you define domestic violence? So in your own words, I just want you to give me like your idea of what domestic violence actually is, like a definition of it. And the reason why I'm asking you this question is because I think so many people are confused about what domestic violence actually is, or they try to justify what domestic violence is. Like, for example, they'll be like, oh, he only raised his voice at me, or, oh, he only slapped me. That's not domestic violence, but it really is. So basically, my question for you is, how would you define domestic violence?
Um, for me, it is any form of abuse used to control someone, whether it's physical, whether it's emotional, mental. And I also want to say that it doesn't necessarily have to be in a relationship with a man and a woman. It can actually be in a relationship with a family member. It could be a child and a mother, a brother and a sister. It's any form of relationship where abuse is used to gain control of someone.
Right. That's a good way to look at it. Cause yeah, that's another thing. And that is so important. And I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because of the simple fact a lot of people is like, oh, that only happens with, my boyfriend. Or, if they, for example, maybe they're in a same sex relationship, oh, that only happens with my girlfriend. But just like you just said, yeah, it can be, a mother and a daughter, or a mother and a son, or a son and a father. These are just things that I don't think most people take into account, that all fall up under the umbrella of domestic violence. You want to add? If you don't want to add, it's okay. It's all right. I understand. I'm here with you. Okay, so my next question is, do you believe that there are any telltale signs from an abuser? If so, what or are they? Or in other words, what do you see in hindsight that you wish you would have realized prior to domestic violence occurring?
Domestic violence always has a sign. Um, in a marriage relationship, most women or the victims tend to ignore it. In a sexual relationship, it's ignored. Sometimes in a family relationship, it is ignored. Oh, that's just how they are. They're mean. Or that's just how they do. Or that's how she just talked to him. Or that's what she think it's like. But because domestic violence is so broad and can cover so many different spectrums and come in so many different ways, that you just think, oh, that's that person's personality, and they're just maybe having a day. And that's not always true, because you see the signs. I know for me, I saw the signs. Um, And I was like, well, we've been married for so long. I'm not, he just mean he having one of his days, or he high, and you just brush it off, because sometimes you have children and you don't
Mm-hmm.
want to have to go through that rigmarole of, oh, it's your week and it's your week. No, I ain't supposed to get them this week. And then you're going into another form of violence, which you're not even paying attention to, because you're arguing in front of your children, which is
Mm,
causing more problems, but you don't think that way. So you try
right.
to hold on because you don't want to deal with that mess. Then you have where am I going to go? Where am I going to stay? He's
Mm,
the only breadwinner in the house, or she's the only breadwinner in the house. Same sex, different sex, bisex, I don't care what you call it. When you feel trapped, you feel sometimes alone, but you gotta look at what's coming towards you. If that sapsucker mean now, he gonna be mean tomorrow. He gonna be mean Tuesday. He gonna be mean 2 years from now, 5 years from now. It's not going to change. It's just gonna continually grow, grow, grow. And first it might be, oh, you look fat today, and you like that. That's not domestic violence. No, that's the beginning signs of it. Why you
wow.
looking like that? You're not gonna be seen with me looking like that. You got 10 minutes to get it together. I'm walking out the door without you.
Mm,
And we don't see that, and we don't think about it. Oh, let me hurry up. Because I'm so wrapped up in my relationship with you. Let me hurry up and change and look like this and look like that, because that's how you want me to look.
right.
But it can't always be like that. You have to think about, wait a minute, hold up, bro. Or hold up, ma'am. You met me like this. What's wrong with me now?
Mm.
So when you think that, hey, it's just me putting my hands on you, no, it's you putting your mouth on me. It's you
Oh, that
putting
was good.
all these things inside my head to try to control me to do what you want me to do. And it's all a control issue. Then it becomes physical. After you've been mentally abused so long that you don't even know you abused no more, and you're making excuses for them
Right.
till, oh, he just hit me. It ain't, child ain't nothing. We was just playing. And you walking out with a black eye. You walking out with a handprint on your face. Sometimes it starts with just a pat on the butt. And you think they playing. No, they actually, did you pat me or did you hit me? Oh, I'll tell you the difference and I'll show you the difference. Because they done passed that verbal. So now they going to put hands. So you see it coming. It's your choice not to ignore what's coming. You got to love yourself more than you love that person, or you got to be uncomfortable so you can move on. Because sometimes we get stuck in the comfort, so we accept whatever.
Right.
That's from a pat to being raped, to being beat, to being belittled. You go through all of that, but you got to know you don't have to go through this.
That's good.
And
That's good.
I want to address some of the things that she said, and also some misconceptions that people think when they think about being in an abusive relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So even when I was younger, I used to be, young Malay, I wish a nigga would hit me. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody goes into a relationship expecting to be abused. So when people say, oh, they're so stupid, and they judge you, and they're like, why would she stay with him? First off, he never starts off that way. Nobody meets a man and he hits you from day one and you decide, oh, he punched me, I want to date him.
Right.
No.
Right. Yeah. See,
That's good. They
Yeah.
take you through a romance process. Like with mine, he didn't become abusive until after I had our firstborn. Mm-hmm. We was already married. We was a year into trying to have a baby. Like he literally was. He came from a bad upbringing, so a lot of his bad ways I overlooked, thinking he didn't know any better. Right? So that was the pass I gave him. But again, he was, and then he also came from an abusive family. His father abused his mother.
Right.
So so you would think he tried so hard not to repeat the cycle, but he ended up repeating the cycle.
But basically, most people who try hard not to repeat the cycle end up repeating.
You're right.
It. Yeah.
So I just want people to understand. We're not stupid. We don't just meet these abusive men and decide, oh, I want to be with him because he hit me. No, we got tricked into this situation. Right. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Because mine was so good where for the longest, I didn't tell nobody. And when I did start telling people, like our friends and family, they didn't believe me. Right. Because he had played such a mild-tempered role. It's like if I was to tell y'all right now, like, Boobie's abusive. Y'all would think I was lying. Y'all be like, there's no way. That's how good it was, right?
Right.
But only after like so many years, it got to the point where, because see, this is where I think the physical come in. Like she said, it starts with the mental, and we don't even realize we're being emotionally and mentally abused, right? He started trying to tell you, you're not as pretty as you think you are. Like mine used to tell me I was tainted goods. Ain't no man gonna want me. You don't have my kids. Ain't no man trying to get no woman with kids. So in my mind, my father wasn't in my life, so I'm damn sure trying to stick it out, make sure my kids have their father. Right. And then I got married young. I didn't want to be labeled as a baby mama. I'm somebody's wife. I'm trying to hold on to this title. It's and even though it was a dysfunctional family, it was still my family unit. Mm-hmm. And people don't understand, if I would have broken that, I'm still taking a family unit from my innocent children. Something that I felt like that I had gave them that my mom couldn't give me, a 2-parent household. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So that kept me for a lot of it. But once it proceeded to the physical, for me, I think it was because if you know me, you know I'm very strong spirited. And I think because his emotional abuse could not break my spirit, I think that's what progressed him to hitting me. because it was like, oh, I can't break you emotionally. Your faith in God's too strong. You're just too smart. I'm finna try to break you physically, right? So physically, he's a man. He's stronger than me.
Right.
So then I revert to doing what I feel like is best. I fight back.
Right.
But then here comes the emotional abuse again. I'm not abusing you because you fight me back. You hit me just like I hit you. So if I'm abusing you, you abusing me. So here I am like, well, he right. I do be hitting him back.
Right, and that's
too?
good.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and that is great. I'm so glad you
so they
said
just stay in
that.
that relationship because you're like, well, I ain't no better than him because I be clocking him across the head too.
Right, we both be knocking each other out.
Both
Right,
just fighting, So, but you don't realize how damaging it was until you get out of it, and you have to sit in your truth by yourself after everything has been stripped from you. Because being in an abusive relationship takes a lot from you. It takes your pride, it takes your ego, it just takes everything about you. And if you notice, most abusers, they take you from your family. You outcast everybody. You fall out with everybody. Nobody loves you, just me. Your family don't love you. Your family trying to turn you against me. They're just mad I love you. And you start to believe it. And you make a choice. And you stick to this man. And you cut off friends. You cut off family. And you're by yourself and you're isolated. And now, when the real him comes out, you're too ashamed to even go to the people you cut off because you're like, I chose this. Right. So now I got to be an adult and sit in this. You know what I mean? So a lot of it is shame. We're confused too. We love this person. Remember, he didn't start off this way. Right. How do you wake up one day and just hate somebody you love? You love this person. They got some fucked up ways, but you love this person.
Right.
So that's the misconception I want people to understand about abuse.
Yeah, and that's why I said you have to love yourself more than you love that person. Yes. And that's what everybody is not realizing. Yes, we loved ourselves, but we also love the person we were with. And they had manipulated so long, we learned to forget how to love ourselves enough to be strong enough and say, hey, enough is enough.
But that's a word right there for all women.
Right.
Whether you're in an abusive relationship or not, because we as women, when we love a man, we conform and we sacrifice, right? Mm-hmm. And your man may not be beating you. He may not even be verbally abusing you that you think. But emotionally, he's hurting you. Because we will put our life to the side, build this man up, and then when he up and becomes somebody and decide he don't want to be with you no more, he wants something younger or whatever, you looking stupid because you don't put off your dreams, you don't put off everything for this man and these children. A man with some money could get him a younger girl. An older woman can't necessarily get something younger. You understand what I'm saying? Because now everybody's looking for the young girl. Right. So we throw away our whole lives building up these men sometimes just to be left with nothing. Right. So I want all women to come to a point in their life, relationship, motherhood, whatever it is, we cannot sacrifice ourselves. We can't.
Right. That's good.
That was very, very good. I'm so glad you said that because that is so important. And that definitely goes for both sides. I want to make it clear that goes for both sides because a lot of times we put so much pride into telling women not to accept less or accept this or accept that. And trust me, it's men out here that be getting clocked upside the head too, but they was raised, I don't put my hands on no woman. So that go for you too. Don't put up with that just because you don't put your hands on a woman. Trust me, it's women out here that are not doing that, and it's men out here that are not doing that, and it's somebody out here that will love you for exactly who you are, where you are. They will pick you up from wherever you laying at right now. And position you up right and be there and be supportive. Trust me, please do not let these negative narratives of people make you think that every single person out here is bad. And that goes for both men and women. So y'all kind of touched on this a little bit, but of course it was next on my question list. So I'm still going to ask it anyway. So this is a two-part question that I have. So my first part is what did you feel or how did you feel the first time that domestic violence hit your household? And then my next question is, was it a one and done, or did it happen again? So the reason why I'm asking this is because there are some women, for example, or men, for example, that may be in a situation, and they may be in an abusive situation, and like kind of like we just touched on, they may not realize it's abusive. Like y'all alluded to earlier. Oh, he just hit me. Oh, it ain't no big deal. And so most people say, oh, oh, he just hit me once. He won't do it again, and kind of alluding to, what both of you said, and specifically, Malaya, what you said, when you were like, how can you love me and then turn around and hate me? And then it made me think earlier, because I think about love in a biblical sense, and how love is mentioned in the Bible. And specifically, I wanted to pull this particular scripture, and it's very popular. You hear it all the time, that people say, but nobody actually does it to me. So it says this. It says, love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. Love never ends. And then it says, as for prophecies, they will pass away. As for tongues, they will cease. And as for knowledge, it will pass away. And that is from 1 Corinthians 13:4. And that's from the ESV. And I wanted to read that because you think about this type of situation, something like a domestic violence, and you say, okay, this love is supposed to be patient to me. This love is not supposed to be rude to me. It's not supposed to be angry or resentful towards me. But then I get in a situation like this, and for example, he hits me, or he says, like I said, hey, I'll never do it again. So like I said, my question, or my two-part question, again, to reiterate, was, what did you feel, or how did you feel the first time domestic violence hit your household, and was it a one and done? Like I said, because some people say, oh, they'll never do it again. So what are your thoughts?
Well, I want to take you back to the love part. You went biblical to the love part.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to know the difference between love and being in love.
Right.
So I can love everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I can love my abuser. I can love my kids. I can love anybody, because that's what the Bible has taught us to love. So all of what you said, yes, I love everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not in love with everybody. So that's the difference, because
Right.
this situation of domestic violence
Mm-hmm.
took me to learn the difference between love and being in love.
Right.
So he might have loved me, but he was not in love with me. And there's a unique difference in that. And a lot of times we don't see that, because we so far in love, especially as a woman, we're so far in love with that person that, yeah, he loves me. And from what you read in the Bible, he does.
Mm-hmm.
But his actions are not showing me he in love with me. So that takes me back to the gradual, because I have lost so much of myself that, no, it wasn't one time. No, it wasn't two times. No, it wasn't once a week. No, it wasn't every other day. Got to every day. It got to a point. It grows. It's not something, it's like a flower. You know how you have even better yet, a tree. Because a tree takes a long time to grow. Mm-hmm. When you start that relationship, you have love. You're in love. You have all those combinations of, oh, this is a perfect relationship. You go with him? Ooh, girl, he's so mean, but he's not mean to me. He's not doing those things to me. He's taking care of me, my mama, and my brother.
Right.
He helping with the household. He helping with his mama household. He doing all of this. He going to church. He doing this. He doing that. He doing the other. He got me out this house. He helped me with graduation. He done did everything possible. Because that little seed that he done put in that ground is now trying to grow up and get some roots. So we got to get a stem. Then we're going to get some leaves. Then once we get some leaves, we're going to get a trunk. Then once we get a trunk, we're going to get some branches. And then we're going to get some leaves on top of that branches.
Mm-hmm.
So that little situation has grown and grown and grown. But a tree don't grow overnight, baby. Right. It takes years. So domestic violence don't grow overnight. Right. It takes years. So if you can equate that tree to how a person goes through their domestic violence, and then that person taking that tree, and they got apples, they so pretty on it, and y'all done did so much, and you sitting there picking the apple. Okay, this stuff. All right, I got me a new car. Bam, bam. He done shook the tree. Mm. You ain't using the car today. Well, I got to pick up the girls. I don't care how you pick them up. No, as a matter of fact, I'll get my children from school. You need to have my dinner done. Mm. Stay home mom. Stay home mom for 10 years. Went to the school. Volunteered at the school. Did everything. Paid all bills. Was a domestic engineer, if you would like to call it that. But I was being controlled. I want a job. What for? Your job is these kids. So no, it's not wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. He hit you once, he gonna hit you again, and 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 he gonna hit you again. Then he gonna start punching you in your face. Then he gonna start punching you in your chest. Then he gonna start choking you. Then he gonna start raping you. Then he gonna start beating you all over again. Baby, the cycle don't end until you end it.
So then that begs the question for me, because you said earlier that he did love you, but he wasn't in love with you. But see, if you go back to that verse that I read, it says that love is patient, it is kind, it's not angry. You're not yelling at me because I don't have your dinner ready, or you're not furious with me.
Right there.
What
this is what you're trying to see. You're trying to correlate these two things together. Mm-hmm. All right. There's different types of love. There's traditional love, right? Biblical love. Uh-huh. That's the love we want to have. That's everybody. But then there's realistic love, baby girl. And this is a realistic love when you're in a domestic violence situation. Right. You ain't thinking about all that kindness. You ain't thinking about all that sweetness. You love him. He loves you. I got these children I got to feed. Oops, that's real life. So sometimes we can't take what's in our Bible all the time. Right.
Oh, I get it. I'm just asking.
Yeah, and have that perfect, because that's what we're striving for. That's the love we want to have. Mm-hmm. But then we got that realistic love. Like a mother and a child, that's unconditional love. I mean, then we got the Lord's love. That's agape love.
But I'm confused though, because I'm like, is that love?
Well,
that's not love to me.
It's not love to you.
Yeah,
because
I know.
Everybody has their own definition and feeling, because love is an action word.
So,
right.
If I could chime in,
please do.
There's two parts of this I would like to address. Uh-huh. So the first thing is the Bible verse you read. Uh-huh. The irony of it is, while most people think the one that's the victim of a domestic violence is weak, that person, male or female, actually displays that type of love for their abuser, because they love their abuser not based on their actions, but they unconditionally love them, and that's why they tolerate and take the stuff that they do, right?
See, that, yeah.
And a lot of times, that's what the abuser is preying on, those type of people, because you are more of the giver than the taker. And I want to give you like an example that somebody who has never been abused can try to understand.
Yes, please do.
So like the very first time he hit me, we were arguing and I said something slick and he popped me in my mouth. And it happened so fast. And before I even like realized he had did it, he was already like holding me and hugging me saying, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I can't believe I did that." I've never done that to you. And just that quick as he hurt me, he was like, because that's what our parents did to us. And I thought about that, about how when I was younger and my mom would take out her bad day on me and I would literally get beat just because she's having a bad day, right? But think about, as your parents, how they'll beat you and then they'll come and apologize later and say, I love you, I didn't mean to hurt you. And because as a kid, all you know is unconditional love. This is your caretaker, your provider. You don't even think twice that they're abusing you. You just think, okay. And we don't even realize when you do that to even a child, you are teaching them a person who loves you can sort of abuse you.
Wow.
Right? So
that is a great way.
Because naturally they just think that's my mom, that's my dad, I love them. They would never hurt me on purpose, even though you did. But your excuse is, I was having a bad day. I really didn't mean. I'm sorry. I apologize. You think I fixed it? It's the same way in an abusive relationship. He loves me. He didn't mean to do it. He's having a bad day today. His upbringing was bad. I shouldn't have said what I said. The kids got this nerve. Like you start to try to make excuses because you love this person. But after a while, those excuses do get old. Because like she says, this tree's like growing out of control. Who's going to trim it? Because it was starting slow, but now it's going crazy. You understand what I'm saying?
I get it. That made so much sense, and I'm so glad you broke it down. And this is why I asked that question, because I figured that y'all were gonna give it to me raw, and that's exactly what I wanted. Because being as though I've never been in a situation like that, I don't know. So for me, I'm like, how in my head, I'm like, how can you say, just like you said earlier, how can you say that you love me and then turn around and raise your fist to me or yell at me or hit me or choke me or rape me or whatever? Like, it just, the math ain't mathing, basically.
Because you don't see the gradual.
Yeah, and that's what it is.
I gave you the scenario of the tree. Because when you see a tree planted, you know a tree gonna be there, right? But you might not have seen all the time that it grew.
Right. Oh my gosh.
And see,
yes,
that's a lot of time
great.
that happens in domestic violence, even from parent to children, children to parents, in all domestic violence situations. You never see the beginning. And as it keeps going and going and going and going, then you see the end result.
Yeah.
Or you don't see the end result because a lot of people don't.
It's just like somebody may look at the tree and say, it's simple, just cut that shit down. But if you're a true construction engineer, you're going to say, no, how deep is the root? How big is the root?
Yeah.
If I got to dig this root, it might uproot this whole house.
Yeah, and that's
because some trees can't be removed.
Yeah.
So y'all not seeing how deep rooted we're into this.
Mouthful.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
And that's why so many people stay so long, because of the simple fact, I gotta uproot, like she said, like Malay said, I gotta uproot everything. And it's hard to uproot everything, especially during mine, because
you had 3 babies.
I had 4 babies.
4 babies.
Because I had my stepdaughter.
Didn't work.
I didn't work. I said I wanted to go back to school. He was good with the school until I told him I was going at night. Then he was like, no, you going to see some nigga. I said, like, you going to see some hoe? Right. Pow, pow. Okay, we ain't going to get to it.
You can dish it, but I can't.
Yeah. Right. And so, and those are the things, because by that point, you're tired.
Right.
Now, when you get tired and you're in that type of situation, you ain't thinking about roots. You ain't thinking about nothing.
Right.
Because
you're just trying to chop it down.
No, you're trying to get away.
Right.
You're trying to get away. Because mine started on a Friday. First it was verbal, then it was rape, and then Sunday he beat me like a man. And the last thing, and locked my kids in the house. So all of our children saw what you did to me. Because you did it in the front yard. After you had dropped off your second girlfriend you didn't think I knew about, but they all had my number and I all had their number because y'all was cousins. And you were a semi-pro boxer. And you beat me until I picked up a pipe and popped you in your head and legs.
Mm.
Then after I called the police and my mama and grandma and anybody else, your family came and said, well, what did you do wrong? What did you
That was
do?
my next question.
What did you do to provoke him?
That's my
It
next
hasn't been
question.
I've done anything to provoke him. He done seen you beat on your sisters, beat on him, beat on the mama, beat on his own uncles. It's a learned behavior.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think, oh no, I ain't gonna do what my family did. I ain't gonna be like my daddy. I ain't gonna be like my mama. I ain't gonna be like this. But it's a learned behavior that you have to unlearn. You can't do it by yourself.
Right.
And from what we go through is we're like, okay. And then the thing that got me is when I'm laying on the ground. He looking at me. Ain't nobody ever gonna want you again in your life. I made sure that. That's why I beat you only in your face this time. Boop! But I was mad enough and gone enough to understand. Oh, you gonna try to kill me?
Yeah.
Watch me. I left with the clothes my children had on. Everything was in my name. I ain't care. And I left with what I had on. Because by the time I got to the hospital, they told me, baby, what you got into? You fought 2 or 3 people?
Yeah, your face was.
I said, no, I'm a survivor of domestic violence. That nurse pulled in another police officer. She said, have you been raped? I said, that was Saturday. She said, what? I said, baby, you have to, I have 3 daughters and I have my stepdaughter. I got to take care of them. And it doesn't stop. Now with women, we'll start protecting our children. As soon as we key in to that tone. Hey, come here. Y'all go outside and play.
That's where a lot of
And that's
came
where
from too.
Yeah.
Intervening with them trying to discipline your child.
Yeah.
Because that was the one that, especially for me, that was the one thing that I would never allow. Like to me, I'm like, I know it don't make logical sense, but like I'm an adult. You could beat me. I can accept that shit. But what you're not gonna do is hit my child.
Kid,
I was just gonna say that.
And
did he beat? He ain't touch the girls.
He beat the girls.
Not to cut you, Malay.
He beat the girls one time, and then when I saw how he spanked the girls, I never let him spank the girls no more.
Okay.
So with that, I'd rather get it than they get it. That's why they was mostly always to my mama's house, my grandma's house, and everything, because I know he was finna go on one of his tangents. And instead of just saying, hey, and I'm cool like this, hey, I'm finna go to my whole house. I'm gonna be like this. Shoot, because I was young. Wrap it up, don't bring it back to me. And see, I was cool like that. And people were like, what? You? Instead of taking it out on me, because you wanted to go do something else, you wanted to be a hoe, and to justify what you doing, you gonna beat me. And that's a lot of times we see it, we know it, but you feel like you stuck in it, and you don't have to be stuck. If you want an open relationship, be a man and say, hey, baby, I want an open relationship. Okay, if it don't work out, because I was really in love. Y'all know I was really in love. I was in love with this nigga. Excuse my language. But
no, you good.
I was in love.
No
I wasn't no PP love. I went against daddy. Mama was okay because she was like, you young. We'll see how it happened. Went against daddy. My dad ain't talked to me for years. Grandma was mad at me. No, not that one. But I was in love. Look how long we dated before we even got married. And then everybody said, hey, you get married because you pregnant. No, baby. I got married in November, and my child born the next December. I ain't married because I'm pregnant. I'm married because I want to be. But he taking care of everything. I mean, shoot, I had my troop jacket. I had my feelers. I was cute going to school because I married in the 12th grade. Instead of going off to college, my mama said, no, you too young. I want you to finish that last year home. I only had half a day of school. So he picking me up in whoever car. I ain't care who it was. Right. We going to dinner. We going to lunch. We having a good time. He taking me to the football game after school. We doing this. We doing that. And it continued to go. So ain't no problem. Ain't no, hey, baby, you look good today. Ain't no, oh, who you think you going with looking like that? It wasn't any of that. Right. It was years and years and years of honeymoon. I'm going to just call it what it is. Right. It's the honeymoon phase.
And they be in love too at one point. They just, I don't know what.
We can't tell you, we can only tell you on the victim's end. Right. Because each abuser has different reasons why. It could be cheating. It could be drugs. It could be all different kinds of things. Mental health. It could be all types of things. My ex, it was all of the above. Right. Because I gradually started, because I mean, that last year before, I'm like, oh, this nigga think I'm stupid. But I kind of am to the rest of the world. But what am I going to do? I'm a stay-at-home mom. I got no education behind me except for that little bit of 2-3 years of college I got. I can't make these ends meet. And you trying to figure out, well, if I leave, how I'm going to take care of these 3 babies? Right. Or is she going to even let me help with the 4th baby? Even though she wasn't mine, she was mine.
Right.
So that's the thing. What am I going to do? Mm-hmm. So my mouth got slippers. The beatings got more.
Oh, yeah.
So my attitude changed. The degrading got more. So that's why I said, you see it coming, because after that first one, it's going to continue and continue. Even though they've apologized, they done bought you whatever you wanted, and you like, oh, okay, we won't happen no more. Right. And you just feel that way. It's not going to happen again. And you convince yourself, no, he having a bad time. And then if anything happens, oh no, I hurt myself. Or you make excuses for everything. But one thing he could not touch were them girls. That I wasn't having. Oh, I'm gonna take the girls to so and so. Okay, as long as you're going to your mama house, my mama house, and going to out there with Boggy and going to the field and do all this, I'm good. Yeah, what y'all did with y'all daddy? Y'all had fun? Did he hit you? Did he touch you? Did he holler at you? Did he scream? He hollered at Jazzy because she was up there bothering Uncle Boggy. Okay, that's different. Right. I ain't worried about that. But you made sure your children were safe. Right. And then when he told me that he gonna beat me and nobody else gonna ever want me, that stayed in my mind for years. And then to see my face.
Oh yeah, your face.
When they showed me my face, I lost my hearing for a year. I almost lost my left eye. I had so much damage and swelling to my face until when I went to take my picture for Duval County School Board as a substitute teacher. That lady saw my ID and she saw my face. She said, "This is not you." I had to pull out my domestic violence police report. Because the police officer said, you need to carry this until your face heals. Because ain't nobody going to believe that it's you. And I gave it to her. She said, okay, baby, give me one moment. I got to go to the bathroom. She was gone about 10 minutes. And I went. She did my ID. And all the principals and everything when I would go to work. Man, we need to see your ID. I showed them my ID. Oh, can you turn that around? We don't want the kids to be upset. I think I was like one of the only people that was allowed to keep their ID in their purse or their pocket.
Wow.
Because one of the kids, 6th grade, said, Miss Taylor, you never wear your ID. And I was doing a long term. It was at DuPont. I'll never forget it. I said, well, I have a privilege not to use my ID. He said, do you mind seeing it? I said, no, I don't mind you seeing it. And I pulled out my ID. He said, "Oh my God, you look like you're about 67 years old. All them bruises over your face and you look, Miss Taylor, what happened?" I said, "I survived."
Oof. Ooh, ooh.
Because it's some people that don't survive.
Right.
They
Right.
choke you out in your sleep. They can kill you when you are unaware.
My baby just had a friend.
So it's so much that can happen when you in those type of relationships because you don't know when that person gonna let go. Mine at least had a pattern. And once you learn their pattern of what they want to do or what they need to do to justify it, well, you made me do this. No, I ain't making. After you get that mentality back that they have done for years and years. Oh, well, you're not pretty enough. Well, why you can't look like her? Well, why you can't do this? Why you can't do that? And then a lot of people say, well, do you regret any of it? And truthfully, I have to say no. Because I was saving my babies while I was trying to live. And God put me through that for a reason.
Yes.
Exactly.
To help somebody.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
For this
everybody
moment.
that knows me, knew me in church, and they said, "Baby, it brought you back." Because truthfully, what don't kill you gonna make you stronger than you ever thought you possibly could be. And it didn't kill me, it healed me. So I can't
that's a whole
regret it. Because it's a process I had to go through in order to break. Because I see so many little kids in my classroom and in my school going through the same thing that my children had to witness. Until I tell them, it's okay, baby. Once a Taylor kid, always a Taylor kid. And I tell them, tell your mama, she can make it through it. Tell your daddy, he can make it through it. Because I know when they get home, either they getting beat, or she getting beat, or he getting beat. Because they so scared, and they can't talk. They won't talk. But I know what's going on because you done gave me the clues by talking.
Right.
I know the clues, and I know what to look for in abuse and domestic violence.
Right.
From the children to the adults. It's little things that bring it back. Oh, what you said again? Girl, we were playing the other day, and he popped me on my butt so hard enough for more. Baby, he hitting you. And I'm like, well, that's the first time, girl. Nah, that's not the third time he done did that, but he ain't gonna do it again. I said, don't believe that lie. And see, I give it to him straight.
Yeah, you got to.
I don't try to filter. I tried to filter, but the Lord didn't give me a filter.
Right.
So I'm gonna give it to you how I get it. He gonna do it again. And it was one of our teachers. And my husband military, he just rough. No, baby. And then you don't feel pretty today, do you? No, Miss Taylor, I don't. I said, because you've been told too many times. But I want to tell you, you're awesome. You're beautiful. Encourage you. I used to leave little notes because I don't know that person's situation.
Right.
So I can't tell you, hey, girl, get your shit and leave.
Right.
I can't tell you that. But I can tell you what I see and what I hear. I can help you when you get tired. And I just walk off. Because sometimes all it needs is that nugget. Because you can't always save everybody. Because everybody don't want to be saved.
Right.
And that's the thing with domestic violence. You got to want to be saved. Because I didn't want to be saved.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you the truth. I didn't. Y'all know, I got everything I wanted.
Right.
My kids had everything
I was just saying, because
wanted.
think about it. Most women' idea is to not work, be home, just take care of the kids, cook dinner.
Hey,
Who wouldn't want that?
and you take class in the daytime, do your little stuff,
Right.
and while the kids, and hey, it wasn't the best in the world. My children didn't even realize we was poor until they got in senior high school.
Wow.
They said, Mama, we on free lunch? I said, yeah, y'all been on free lunch for years. They said, well, we always had a lunch. You always gave us money. Daddy always gave us money. I said, Daddy made just enough for the household.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all will never know it.
Right.
So a lot of people like, oh, these people just stupid. I wouldn't, it'll never happen to me.
Yes,
you can't never say never.
Right.
Because I was young and said never.
I said never to so many things I said I would never do. I've never been in domestic violence, I don't think. Look, but it's so many things I said, oh, I'll never do that.
But
and I probably done did all
Some
along.
women are controlled by money. Some
Yeah,
women
you're right.
are controlled emotions. Your man constantly cheating, but you won't leave him, right? There's so many aspects to abuse that we overlook, that we think as long as he ain't physically hitting me, I'm doing good.
Right.
And that's not true, right? And you know, and listening to her story, that was the, I guess, the catch-22 of mine. Like, when people hear my story, it don't make sense. Because I was the breadwinner of the house. You know what I'm saying? He didn't take care of me. I took care of him.
Oh, wow.
Anybody who knew me knew Malel's strong, Malel's tough. So it made no sense. What are you getting out of this?
Right.
It made no sense. But what people don't understand is, outside of the factor of, first, it was love. I was young, I was naive. And at first, I ain't gonna lie to you, I wasn't scared of the nigga. I thought this shit was like a big old game. Like, we just young, we in love. You know how kids think these toxic, oh, that nigga jealous, that shit's sort of cute. You know what I'm saying? Nigga
Right. I have heard,
you know what I'm saying?
I've heard that. People think it's cute and they think the man loved them more.
Exactly.
Because he hit them. Oh, he real in love with me.
But you and then, you know, and even though I was insecure because of the things he said to me, like, I remember going through a phase of feeling like the type of woman that he was attracted to wasn't me. Like, feel like I wasn't ratchet enough. Start feeling like maybe I need to smoke weed. You know, I didn't smoke, I didn't drink. Maybe I need to club more. Maybe I need to get a little more curvy, you know, because I was like slim, you know, and it's like you start trying to change yourself. But eventually, what people didn't realize was he had outcasted me from my family so much. And then a lot of things I did to protect him, to save face. You hit me, and people may say, why you didn't call the police? I'm not trying to make him another black man statistics of being in jail, even though it's fucked up.
Right.
He already has a hard time getting a job because of his lack of education.
Right.
The last thing I need to do is put a record on this nigga, and he need to be a father. You know what I'm saying? I'm waiting for. It's like I was stuck and in love with the potential of who I wanted him to be, which is what most women do with men in general, right? And then me thinking, he's never had my type of love. He's used to his family dogging him out. He's used to people abandoning him. Like, I'm finna show him I'm your ride or die, which is the number 2 mistake woman makes. Stop fucking ride or die for these niggas. Ride or die for yourself. And I tell you that from experience now, right? But just like the Woman Evolved conference I went to, as I evolved as a woman, I started understanding what it meant to be equally yoked, right? You hear people say that, but people don't understand what that means.
Right.
Somebody, I even have friends now who will stay in relationships because he's a good man, but you don't love him, you don't want him, or she's a good woman. Just because somebody is good don't mean they're for you, right? Everybody
and it's selfish too. I don't mean to cut you off, but it's selfish to hold up that good person and you ain't even ready.
It is.
Let that person go be with somebody else and be a good man, a good woman to them.
Wow. But you know, when you're not equally yoked, that comes a lot of things. If we're not equally yoked in dreams, passions, religion, everything, all that can alter your relationship. And I heard, her even talk about it brought her back to God, and I want to touch base on that because I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, but my mom raised me, and I was very strong into the religion, right? And I always tell people, there's no bad religion. Everything's like good. You just have to like give and take out of each religion. That's why I don't judge nobody.
They all pretty kind of very minute.
You have to learn the Bible for yourself. Right. But when I went through my abusive marriage, I resented God because I told myself, I said, man, like I did everything you wanted me to do. I didn't do drugs. I was a good kid. I didn't skip school. I waited till I got married to have sex. You know, I had kids. I'm loyal to this nigga. I'm faithful, even though he's abusing me. He's beating on me. He ain't providing. I'm like busting my ass, working, you know, like 80 hours a week and stuff to provide. I'm taking care of him. He's stealing from me. He got a drug habit, like all this stuff. And this is how you repay me? Like, I did exactly what you wanted me to do. And this is how you fucking repay me, right?
Yeah.
And I hated God. I resented God. I went from like talking to God every day to I didn't have a relationship with him. Like none at all.
Wow.
And throughout that, I didn't realize it then, but I went through a depression.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even gonna lie to you, I was even suicidal. And anybody who knows me knows those are not characteristics of Malaya. But I was in such a bad place that I didn't want to feel the hurt no more.
Right.
Like you would think somebody, you know, and there was nothing crazy about me. I knew exactly what I wanted to do, why I wanted to do it, and I knew it was wrong. And I knew I had kids that needed me, and I knew I had family who loved me. But at the time, I was just hurting so bad, and nobody fucking understood.
Right.
Everybody's advice was so fucking shallow. Like it was so simple. Just leave. It wasn't that simple, right? If it was that simple, I would have done it.
Right.
So it was just like, I just felt like I was alone. I felt like nobody understood. So, and because I felt alone, I had to keep a lot of that shit even to myself more.
Right.
I didn't tell my brothers because I didn't want my brothers hurting him. That was like the crazy part. Like, this nigga hurts you, but you want to protect him.
Right.
And, you know, and I remember even times when neighbors would call the police, I'm like defending him. Like, no, he didn't hit me. Well, what happened to your eye? Oh, you know, I fell down the stairs. I remember one time he punched me in my eye so hard that he popped the blood vessel and the whole white part of my eye was bloody, shot red. And I had to go to the hospital because I almost lost my fucking vision. And I remember the doctor asked me, like, what happened to your eye? And I said, I was outside playing baseball and got hit in the eye with the baseball. And I knew the doctor didn't believe me, but he didn't want to press, you know, the issue. But that was the extent of the lies that we would tell. And then you have to also understand there's a guilt aspect because one time I was pregnant and he beat me and he did go to jail. And I remember when he got out, that was his first time going to jail. He blamed me. It's your fucking fault I got a record. I ain't never had a record before until you, and you take on that guilt. Oh, and now his excuse is, I can't get a job because of your ass because you don't got me this record. Like, not because you beat me.
You did it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then there was a time where I lived with his family, and I remember being in the room pregnant, and he was beating me, and his family heard it. And they turned the music up and said, it's not our business.
Oh, my God.
And I'm in there screaming for help because I started going into labor.
You was pregnant?
Yes, I was pregnant.
Oh my God.
And they said it was not their business. And these so-called his family that you think love you too now, right? And his mama, it was sort of like crazy because she was a victim of domestic violence. So it's like she would take up for him.
Excuses for her son.
She'll make excuses for him. But yet when he wasn't present, she'll try to help me escape. It was like, it was weird.
Real weird.
You know what I'm saying? Like
playing both sides.
Yeah, she was like playing both sides. But then like if the cops got there, you know, she'd be like, oh no, he didn't hit her. Like, and I'm standing like, you saw it. Oh no, I don't know what she's talking about. You know what I mean? Like, so it was a lot of back and forth. But I was bringing up the whole thing about God because mine actually had brought me back to God too. And I was very big about him not abusing my kids. And I'll tell y'all also later on in life of an event my child had with a teacher that I want to speak on too. But my thing was, you stay for the kids because you say they're young and they don't know no better. But in reality, I learned after the fact they do know
They
better,
know. Yeah,
right?
They know.
My kids were so trained that even after I left that relationship, when I got engaged to another young man, he used to scream at me. And every time he screamed, my kids would go into hiding because they thought he was about to hit me because they were that traumatized.
Wow.
And as much as I loved him and he's never hit me, and he was somebody I was with before I got with Mike, I had to leave that relationship because he couldn't understand what he was doing was damaging to my children. And I kept saying, you can't scream at me because they're traumatized. And I had, again, make a decision that even though I'm an adult and I love this nigga and he's been good to me, I can't take my kids through that a second time.
Right.
You know, so I had to leave that engagement, and literally he did nothing to me. It was just the screaming aspect, and my kids was traumatized. But one night I remember arguing with the father of my child, and I left to go to work. and I was working at Blue Cross Blue Shield then. And I remember before I left home, I said, we lived on the 3rd floor, and I said, make sure you close that window. And I'm one of the people that I get paranoid about stuff. I tell you do something, I double check.
Hold on, brief intermission. We got to take a brief intermission. Hold on. We'll be right back.
The phone?
The iPad.
Okay.
Okay, so we're back now. Okay, go ahead.
And you know, and I'm one of the people like usually I double check everything myself because that's why I'm so anal about stuff. So I told him to close the window. I didn't think nothing of it. We fought, whatever. It was at this point it was routine. It was like this is just my life at this point. You know, you don't even think twice about it. So I go to work and I get off and I go to my mom's house and then I went to the grocery store and I got off at 4. I didn't get home till like about 8, like 4 hours later. And when I walked into the house, he was sitting down reading the Bible with the other 2 boys. And I should have known something was wrong because he don't read the Bible. But I didn't think nothing of it. And I go to put up the groceries and I'm in my kitchen. And when I left that day, my baby had on, this was Caleb actually. My baby had on a blue little jersey and he was only like 8 months old. And he had on this blue jersey. And while I was putting up the grocery, I looked over and I see the blue jersey cut up on the counter and it was soaked in blood that it was like red. It wasn't even blue anymore. And as soon as I saw it, he runs up to me and he's like, Caleb fell out the window. And I'm like, what? So I run into the bedroom and then Caleb's laying there. My 8-month-old baby's laying there and his eyes are open, but he's unconscious and blood is just leaking out his mouth. And I remember thinking like, my fucking baby could have internal bleeding, right? So I said, when did this happen? And he said it happened at 4. And I got home at 8. So then I felt the guilt of why the fuck did I just come straight home, right? So this nigga let his fucking child fall out the fucking window from a 3rd story. His bitch ass took my baby, bathed him, gave him Tylenol, and laid him back in the fucking bed to die because he's too pussy to call the fucking cops for a fucking ambulance. So my baby been laying there for 4 fucking hours that could be internally bleeding, right?
I think he did. That's because he did it.
So I remember like I grabbed my baby and I just left James and Jamal. I didn't even think about them. I grabbed him and I run down the stairs and I get in the car and we stayed in Lee Meadow, so we stayed on Sunbeam. So I'm rushing to go to Memorial Hospital, and I didn't even know that they're not a kid-friendly hospital. And I remember as I was speeding, this cop gets behind me and I said, fuck it, I can't stop. My baby's about to fucking die. And by the grace of God, like I don't even remember like how I got there. I was going so fast. I don't even my mind was just gone. And all I remember saying to myself was, I said, God, if you save my baby, I swear to God, I would never go back. I said, God, I mean, I done been through a lot of shit, but if you take my baby, God, I was like, you might as well just take me. I can't do this, you know, and he knows, right? So, and anybody who knows me knows I'm very like shy but this daddy, I could care less. I get to the hospital, I jump out, I run into the ER, the policemen running after me because they're like, why the fuck she ain't stop? And I just go inside the emergency room and I'm just screaming at the top of my lungs. I remember it like it was yesterday. And I was just like, my baby's dying. And like everybody just looked at me and then they just see me holding this baby that's bleeding and they all just run to me and they grab him and you know, and then they take him to the emergency room, whatever. And Caleb had to get airlifted to Wolfson because Memorial didn't have the capacity to handle kids. Mm-hmm. And my baby was in the hospital for 2 fucking months. Wow. And I didn't tell nobody. I didn't call my mama. I was so focused on just me being in line with God. I didn't call nobody. Wow. I left my 2 kids home with him. He was there with them. Like I remember even telling DCF when they came to try to ask the side of stories, I was just like, fucking arrest him. I don't give a fuck what his side of the story is. Take him to jail. And I remember just saying that to them. I'm like, I don't give a fuck what his side of the story is. And I remember the doctor came in and the doctor was like, baby, he was like, I don't know who you prayed to. He said, but whoever you prayed to, he answered you. He said that same day, some other child fell down 2 steps and fucking broke his neck and died. And my baby fell out of a 3rd-story window and fucking lived. Mm-hmm. And people don't understand even the trauma from that. Even when they told me Caleb was okay, even as he became an adult, I used to be so scared. Like when I remember him going to play sports, I was like, what if somebody hit him wrong and it triggers something because that the doctors missed? And like I had to live in fear of like just losing my child. And then, like you don't know him, but they know Caleb. Caleb is so like godly and spiritual. Like he's like an angel baby that I'd be in awe sometimes. Like this is who God saves. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and he saves him for a purpose that he don't
Yeah.
even know
Right.
like how great his purpose is, because it was just like even if you ask my husband Mike, and Mike will tell you like he say it all the time. He like James act like me. Like that's my son, that's my twin. He fuck up. He like Jamal's an amazing man. I love him. He's more stoned his mom, but he always say, but Caleb, I don't deserve Caleb.
Yeah,
He was like,
boy,
Caleb
he's so
is
sweet and smart.
I'm talking about a little boy that goes to the mall to preach God's word. A little boy that he played Fortnite, he's preaching to the other kids while they're cursing and stuff about God. Like, what kid does this? You know what I'm saying?
Got a
Like,
purpose to be here to tell his story.
and
What's the singer? That happened to him.
Oh, you talking about Fred Hammond?
No,
no,
List.
Travis Green. Yeah,
Travis Green. That
yeah.
happened to him. You know Travis Green?
yeah.
Same thing happened to him, and he tells that testimony right now to this day.
And that's the crazy thing, though. Like, I've sheltered my kids from so much.
Fred Hammond, mama put him in the trash.
They don't even know a lot of this. My kids have found out a lot of stuff through just hearing me talk and doing.
So he didn't know. Caleb didn't. Oh yeah, because he was 8 months.
Yeah,
he wouldn't remember.
Caleb is so innocent, and I left when he was so young. He don't even know. He
don't know his dad.
He didn't know his dad. To him, hands down, Mike is his dad.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I hate to say it this way, but
who remembers? James remembers.
James remember. Jamal remember. Caleb, I think, didn't come to grips that even though Mike is his dad, that Mike's really not his dad until like last year.
Oh wow.
And I think it did something to him.
Oh wow.
And I don't know if he put it together because everybody kept saying it, because he swore he was half white because of Nana. And they kept on to tell him like, you're not white. Like the other kids kept telling him you're not white. He's like, I am half white, Nana, But it's been tough. Mm-hmm. But ever since that day, I will say I did leave, and I found out after the fact. James used to go to school crying and telling his teacher, my dad hit my mom today. And by the grace of God, he had a good teacher who could have called DCF, but she didn't. And she just gave him whatever little one-on-one time. And she used to ask me, because she'd take him to the fair. She used to buy him Christmas gifts. And I never knew why this teacher was so taken up to me, because she never told me. Mm-hmm. I never found out until after we're older. We ran into her at a fair. Mm-hmm. And James was older. And she said to me, your baby used to come to school crying all the time. And I would just comfort him. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know this.
Wow.
So children know.
Yeah,
they may not say it to you. Children knows, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, God was just in my favor, because she could have just called DCF.
Do you, because I thought me and you may have had this conversation. In your heart of hearts, do you believe he did it?
He did what?
Threw your baby down there, or
that's
that's
the part I don't know, but I wouldn't put it, because I asked him what happened. He said what happened was, because we had a sofa up against the window.
8 months and got out that window?
Because we had a sofa against the window, and he said that he was doing the dishes, which nigga you barely ever clean. But he said Caleb was crawling on the edge of the couch, like he was looking out the window, and he said he went to go beat him. And when Caleb saw him coming, and he had the belt, Caleb went back like this, and he said he tried to grab him and he fell. That's what he said happened.
I don't believe
and it. I don't, because James and Jamal.
Why was you beating him at 8 months too? That's another issue. He 8 months old.
So to this day, I don't know. But the fucked up part was DCF failed my fucking child. Because they took his statement and he told them that exact same story, and they ruled it an accident, and he never went to jail for it. Wow. Even though I wanted him to go to jail so bad. Right. He never went to jail.
So did they ask the kids? Did they say anything?
They did. And this is the thing I'm still trying to figure out. I don't know if the kids really don't remember.
They probably weren't paying attention.
Or they're so traumatized they don't blocked it. Because I remember coming home from the hospital, and I saw like red Kool-Aid stain on my wall and on my carpet. And I asked the kids, what was that? And they said that when Caleb fell out the window, I guess they said and I think they're only mimicking what he said. They said that he got mad at them because they were laughing, which I don't know why they would be laughing, and he threw Kool-Aid on them and then slammed them against the wall. And that's what they told me.
No, none of this story sound right.
I don't know.
It sounded like he pushed your baby out, threw their baby out that window, and was attacking them as well. And then maybe panicked, ran down. So nobody saw it?
I don't know.
Like in Lee Meadows?
No neighbors ever came forward, so I don't know.
So he just ran down that guy and cleaned them up real quick.
And that.
But what state of mind are you in to just sit your baby on the bed and not call 911?
Get fucking baby.
Or even call you.
But that's the thing. That's the control. That's the control. She wasn't home. See, you got it.
They care more about themselves than anybody else. They don't fucking love you. They don't really love these kids. It's all about them. Because a natural parent, like me, if my baby would have felt, even if I'm going to jail, nigga, I don't give a fuck. Just save my baby.
But he didn't even call you and say, come home.
But it's the control. Because he didn't care. Okay, you got to understand. You have an unconditional love with Brittany. Brittany stepped up to, baby, what's wrong? You okay? And she got a little limp. You're going to show that concern. When you are an abuser and you're abusive, you don't give a shit if that baby stuck his toe, killed himself, poisoned himself. I've heard it come out of my ex-husband's mouth. I don't give a shit. What about me? Am I going to eat? What? The baby just broke her tailbone. I got to take her to the hospital. She was playing football now. You know she loved to play football with that older one. Hey, what about my young? What the fuck? So, and who gonna take you? Because I'm not finna drive you to no hospital with her.
Wow. So do you think? Go ahead. No. Finish. Your statement.
You know, he is not caring about that baby, them two boys, nor her. But that's how I'm gonna get your attention and see how far I can really go with you. Because now I'm finna start attacking your damn kids. See, that's what we be fighting for.
Wow.
So do you think that level of control, do you think that comes from like what they seen with their parents? Because it seemed like one of my questions was, and we kind of touched on this, but I want to kind of expand on it a little bit. Like, basically, it seems like a lot of this stuff starts in their formative years, like when they coming up.
Ooh.
Yeah, it seems like it starts in their so
it does, because some abusers abuse animals first, and this is research. Because I thought,
that gives me Jeffrey Dahmer vibes.
So I had to. I was in everything. I was in the Bible research. I was Mr. Bayard, Mr. Grover, before he passed, right across from Grandma. I'll be like, hey, Mr. Grover, we gotta talk about this Bible right now, because I done did something wrong. I used to go to Pastor Hicks. Pastor, am I wrong? Because I even thought I was wrong in divorcing him. I thought I was even wrong into leaving him. Yeah. Because they have started so young and have manipulated for so long. They masters now. By the time you get with them, am I telling you the truth? They masters.
And Jehovah's Witnesses didn't believe in divorce, so that was my catch-22 too. That I shouldn't be getting divorced.
I shouldn't, and I'm like, because the Bible says,
so they're supposed to be able to beat you. Just continue to.
Well, no,
your mind, go to counseling.
Your mind has been so controlled that when you finally do get out of it, you're like, you got to restart. And a lot of people don't understand that. And a lot of people are scared of that. That's the main thing. So what you're dealing with, you got to reprogram you too. But they have been programming since they was little. You might have started out 4 years old. Oh, you hit the dog with a stick, or you chasing after the dog, or you doing something, or you see your mama pop your daddy, or you see your daddy pop your mama, or your granddaddy, your grandma. So it's like I said before, it is a learned behavior. They've seen it on TV, they've seen it in person. And they think it's okay.
Then you have to remember with me. Remember, he's a little older than me. Number one. Number two, we have two different family upbringings. You know, even though I had some parental abuse in mine, I never saw no man beat my mom, number one. And then number two, I remember I got married when I was 16.
Okay.
I'm still trying to figure out who I am as a woman.
Right.
So he comes in and he's pretty much trying to mold me into being a woman. So now I'm second guessing myself because I'm like, am I supposed to be what he wants me to be, or who in my heart I feel like God wants me to be, right? And I think the other third aspect of that too is, because Mike say this all the time to me and a lot of other guys when they find out, or they know who he was, they were like, you were too good for him. And they're like, that nigga knew it. He knew he had caught him, this good ass, young, pretty ass, naive girl, and he knew you out of his league, and he tried to control you and manipulate you because in his heart, he felt like he was going to lose you, right? So everywhere we went in the hood, hey, nigga, like, who's that China doll you got? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I would get beat because a nigga asked you about me. Darn. I would get beat because a nigga spoke to me like, you swear I
thought men wanted people to want they want.
No, it's all right in public. Yeah. It's okay as long. Hey, oh damn.
See, I was slick with it. He didn't always. He would only hit me in the face if he got real mad and it just came out.
Because it's on the body.
But a lot of times he hit me on my body where I had to conceal it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's where it mostly
it only got messy towards the end when he started going to jail because he started doing it in public. Like one time he hit me in the middle of Regency Mall.
Oh wow!
Like some boys had ran over there to my rescue.
So y'all just walking in the mall. He get mad or y'all exchanging words?
Yeah, just get mad and just hit me.
Or somebody, and that's the other thing.
That's when I knew he was. But I felt like a lot of that was him losing control because he knew number one I was involved into womanhood, and even though I knew the consequences, I got to slip him out. I wasn't finna back down, and that bothered him because he wanted me to be submissive to his ignorance so bad, not realizing that if you'd have led properly, I would have been submissive. Right. But he hated the fact that I questioned him. He hated the fact that I talked back, and I think because he knew too, like I was the breadwinner, like all that. Bothered him. It killed his ego. Like, basically, you're not a man, but that's not my problem. That's your problem. Like, I'm still with you, even though you're not being a fucking man you're supposed to be. Like, I'm still trying to help you find jobs.
Your situation is so different than the man because most women, it's like Moody didn't work.
Yeah,
and that man taking care of them and their kids, and they ain't got nowhere to go. I ain't never seen it with a woman taking care of the man.
It's important to hear.
And he still beating me. Boy, he should have been kissing your feet every time you walked in the door.
But this is the thing.
Way back then.
But that's the thing because they do the mental first. So you're so gung on that mental. Oh, do I look pretty enough today? Even though I ain't going nowhere. I'm not going. I'm in the house.
And that's the point. I don't want to be pretty because anybody say anything to me.
He gonna hit me.
Yeah, we could be at dinner and somebody say your
so
wife.
So one day you want to be pretty, but then
no. That's the thing with mine. Damn. You had to be pretty to go out the house,
right?
Because we're going to the Pop Warner games. You're the cheerleading coach. I need you to look the best,
right.
The girl. Because if you notice, my girls was always what? Now sometimes I look like ragamuffin, throw away dirt,
right?
But what were those girls? Immaculate wherever you went. And then and I stopped caring after I noticed every time that's her real hair. She always wearing the braids. Why she don't wear her real hair? She got long pretty hair. Because somebody gonna say something to me. And after they say something to me, he gonna yeah man, I do got me a good piece right there. Ain't she pretty? That's a pretty little chocolate thing, that pecan 10. And as soon as we get home, you beat me,
slut, you whore. Yeah, okay.
Why the hell he calling you all of that? And you fucking my friend?
Wow.
No, I'm not. Baby, what you talking about? Wow. That you haven't even heard the comment. Wow. You heard the comment from him because all of a sudden it's an argument.
And when you're with an abuser for so long, you already know, like, I know as it's happening, like, oh, fuck, when we get home, we gonna fight. Like, I already know, like, somebody come in and say something. And in my mind, I'm already knowing, just because of what he just said, we finna go home and fight. Like,
do you think it's a mental illness?
Well, it can be all of the above. And then some people are just
he was smoking too. He was on.
And some people are just mean and nasty too. So that's why I said it depends on the person and the situation. You got mean people, you got evil people, you got nasty people. Some people get a thrill out of it.
It has to.
Some people, it's mental.
Because I don't understand how they're able to suppress it for 2 years of, this is the perfect man.
Because
and then that third year, you just snap.
No.
So that's why I was wondering.
Let him tell it it's me. I'm the first woman he's ever hit. It's me. I started all of it.
Yeah.
And but how is it you when you was doing everything for him? I ain't
But
trying
it
to
does-
justify you,
it
Moody, at
doesn't-
all. You
it
know I ain't
doesn't-
gonna.
It
You
doesn't
family.
matter. It doesn't matter what you are. You could be dependent on him. You could be taking care of him. It doesn't matter, because what it is like we said, it is gradual. This and any learned behavior that you have is gradual. So it might start with me hitting the dog. Then, I done hit my sister. Or me and my sister in the room fighting and tussling. Mama ain't say nothing. I'm gonna get away with it. Because he the little brother out of 4 sisters. And then it gradually goes on. But then you might hear, my uncle beat up his wife the other day. I wonder how. She ain't say nothing. I ain't see no bruises.
I feel like
they
mine,
learn it.
Yeah, mine was just a good manipulator, because like I told you, a lot of people didn't believe it at one point. Some of his friends who didn't physically see it, I still feel like they don't believe it because they're still friends with him. And then there was a situation where he did do it one time in front of one of his other friends, and he tried to jump in and be like, "Hey, don't do that." And then he sort of pushed him real hard. Was like, "Nigga, don't get involved in my marriage." And
he got remarried.
I don't know if he got remarried, but he's with somebody. But to my understanding, he's with somebody. He does. He's with somebody. He beats on her, and he's had kids with her. And he had other kids before we got divorced, but he has kids with her, and he renamed one of her kids after him when he already has a firstborn named after him. So that just shows you. So my whole thing is too, I wanted to say, for me, I tried to justify staying. I tried to say as long as, because cheating was the ultimate no-no for me. As long as he's not cheating, as long as he wasn't abusing the kids. But deep down, we as women need to realize your gut instincts are never wrong. I felt in my heart like he was cheating. I felt in my heart like he was abusing the kids. But it was almost like, unless I physically see it, but that's a cop-out, now looking back at it. Like, why do you need to physically see it? You know what I'm saying? So if you're in that situation and you feel like, I just need this proof, no, you don't. Your intuition is your proof.
Oh, yeah, your
just
intuition.
leave. You know what I'm saying?
Good.
And
that's good.
yeah, and it's gonna be tough. And mine was crazy. I went to Hubbard House and he sent a girl in Hubbard House after me. Like, mine was crazy.
That's real crazy.
And,
You know what I'm saying?
Johnny sent now his wife, but that was one of his girlfriends before. Sent her to the apartments when I finally got an apartment in Emerson. You trying to fuck my man? I said, baby, same thing he did to me, he finna do to you.
That's what I wondered. So you think he beat her?
I've seen Octavia in the store with 2 black eyes.
Because I was wondering, do you think they can change? Do you think a man can stop?
If they get the counseling and they want to.
That was one of my questions.
It has to be a want for them. Anybody that I've seen that is an abuser, does not stop.
And if you get him and he is changed, then God bless you.
Yeah.
Because I hate when a woman try to be like, well, he never did that to me. Okay, that was you. That was, you know what I'm saying?
Right. And it's good you say that, because, and I know you had that question, but I know somebody, and I'm not going to name their name.
I was going to say, I think I already know what you're going to say. Probably. Because I was going to mention that.
I know somebody that hit somebody when they were young. I'm talking about probably 16, 17 years of age range.
Right. I was going to mention that.
Them and the girl was fighting each other, but even the girl herself said, like, they thought that was love. Remember, I kind of mentioned that earlier. Like, they thought that meant the man loved them more. But the man said that his best friend at the time, dad was beating his mama. They were dating each other best friends. So say, for instance, you and her husband, they would be together. He would see him beat her and thought, she's staying. So he would just do it. But he didn't have a father figure.
But that's called learned behavior.
Exactly. So it's learned behavior.
It's learned behavior.
Right.
It's learned behavior. And he did it, but he did not do it to nobody else and never did it again. So I don't know. That's what
that's the thing. That's the thing about it. You don't know what else was said into that relationship.
Right.
So you don't know if she went to her mama and they said, hey, nigga, we're going to have a come to Jesus meeting. I'm going to beat your ass about my baby. You don't know what. So in most of the situations,
I don't know what made it stop.
If you actually talk about it and don't ignore it and look at the signs, it can stop right then and there.
Right.
Okay. But the majority of the time, it does not.
Yeah.
And the majority of the time, you don't have men in her. You don't make that.
Right.
Because a lot of us people.
I was going to say also, I know other cases, and every case that I know of, their daddy was beating their mom.
Yeah.
So the son was doing it.
And you
Like
have,
I've had friends,
you
their
have
daddy
to-
was beating
yeah.
their mama, and then the son started beating the
They do.
girlfriend.
And you have to also think too, like, even once I made up my mind to leave him, there was still a co-parenting aspect that I tried to honor, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And
That's so hard.
and people looking
yeah.
outside in may not understand this, but I had to make a hard decision of what mattered more to me, right? Because I did try to, because you didn't want to be labeled as the bitter baby mama,
Right.
because that was the story he was trying to sell to people.
Right.
Now that we divorced or whatever, we're not together, she don't let me see my kids.
Right.
And that was the story he told these hoes too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To try to whatever start a
Get
relationship with
into
them.
them.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I had got a lot of slack from that. But what they don't understand was there was no way possible for me to drop my child off to him without him beating on me.
Right.
And then I even
Or
tried-
controlling the
and trying to
situation,
control
like
the
I ain't
situation,
giving them back. You got to
Right.
come back.
Yeah.
And
And then it even got to the point where, even if I said I'll get to your mom, then your mama's scared of you. And then when I get ready to come back and I'm telling her don't give it to him, and I come back and get him from you, and you talking about he got them. So now I still got to go see him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was just getting really messy. And my last straw was, the situation I posted on Facebook. He actually had the kids that day. His mama actually had them. And I was going to pick them up. And when I got there, he was there. And James Jamal was at the park, which pissed me off because they were only like 5 and 6. Why the fuck are they at the park by themselves with no adult supervision? Right? And on top of that, they lived in the hood. So I'm like, so whatever. But Caleb was there. So I picked up Caleb and I'm like trying to be very, because, I tried not to provoke him if I can. So I was trying to be really nice, really sweet. And his mama used to run like a trap house, basically. So I didn't even really want my kids over there. She was on drugs real bad. Their house was always like a trap house. And so this day when I went to go pick them up, it was a few little trap boys hanging out the house, and he told me he needed to talk to me. So he ended up telling me that he wanted me to sign my kids over to him and his mom so that she could get a HUD house.
What?
And I was like, no, nigga, I'm not going to sign my kids over to you so your mama can get a HUD house. And he got mad. And we got into an argument. And again, it was Caleb. I had Caleb in my arm.
Oh my God.
And this was after Caleb done fell out the window now. This is like years, Caleb was 2 at this point. So I had Caleb in my arm. Or he was going on 2 because he was still little. I had him in my arm. And I used to always tell people, like, yeah, he fight me, but, that's about the worst of it. But while we're arguing, this nigga tell me, oh, you threw for real? Because I had served them with divorce papers. Mm-hmm. And he was like, oh, you threw for real? And I was just like, yeah, blah, blah, whatever. And this nigga pulls out a gun. And we're standing like this. I'm holding Caleb. He's like right there. He points the gun and is like literally pointing at me. And when he does that, my first instinct was, just tell this nigga you'll get back with him. So I'm like trying to talk him down. I'm like, let's talk about this, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, nah, bitch, you said you were over. He was like, just pretty much stand on what you said type thing. You said we was over. And all I remember was, because at this point, like, it's like everything, when you get to a fight, everything happens so fast, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm holding Caleb, and he has this gun pointed at me, and all I remember was I hear a click. He actually pulls the trigger. And if he would have pulled the trigger, like, legit, I'd have been dead, because it was like to my head, we're like face to face, point blank range. And he pulls the trigger, and I don't know what clicked in my mind when I heard the click, but I didn't feel anything. But sometimes, I don't know if y'all ever had been in the midst of adrenaline, because I don't fought him in the midst of adrenaline and realize after the fact, like, I got this big ass gash, I'm bleeding, and I don't even realize until after the fact.
Yeah.
So when I heard the click, but I didn't feel anything, and I didn't feel myself fall, it was like God was with me, because all of a sudden my instincts just said, run. So when I heard it click and nothing happened, and I had kept my arm, I just took off and I ran to my car. And one of the little dope boys, thank God, I don't know what he told them, because all I remember hearing the boy say was, she ain't worth it. And he grabs him, and they go to tussling over the gun. I don't know who this boy was, but thank God he was there in place, and thank God he decided to intervene, because most niggas don't intervene.
Right?
And this
I ain't got nothing to do with it.
Yeah. So it was fast enough that I was able to jump in my car, and again, I'm just thinking about my kids. So I jump in my car, I speed to the park where James Jamal is, and I grab them, and I go home, and I call the police. Policemen get there, his mom and all of them say they don't know what I'm talking about.
Wow.
And I'll tell you too how people think when you're in a
he would have
situation
never
like
seen
that.
my child again.
People think that you could get help, but you can't. I
Yeah.
have a permanent restraining order against him.
Girl, me too.
But let me tell you how
Everything.
weak that shit is, and that shit don't work.
It don't work.
Mm.
So now, granted, his mama could tell you this nigga ain't pulling no gun on me, and you gonna take his mama word for it and not prosecute him.
Mm.
They did end up filing charges, but you know they only gave him 9 months. This nigga almost killed me, and y'all gave him 9 months.
She was in the hospital, about half dead.
They don't give a
Right.
fuck,
They don't
right?
care.
We could get the fighting, and I could call the cops. And guess what they say to me? Did anybody else see that he was here?
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck gonna see he was here when he's in my house, unauthorized, sitting in the dark, waiting for me to come home? So my word is not good enough because I could be manipulative and lie. So
Wow.
even with the restraining order, somebody else who's not my relative have to witness it.
That's sad.
When is that gonna happen?
Right.
That's
Right.
never
That's
gonna
sad.
happen.
But
Because
it's
a lot
gonna
of times
take-
they seem like they wait until you by yourself.
Mine was so psycho. Let me tell you. One time, a cop came to my door. Well, like, you called the cops, and I was like, no. And I just thought it was a coincidence. He was like, we got this call, and I'm like, no, sir, I didn't call it. The cop left. It happened like 2 or 3 more times throughout the week. The cops got tired, like we don't even want to answer this call anymore, because I kept telling them, I'm not calling y'all. This nigga was hiding across the street calling the cops
on purpose.
on purpose, and after they would leave, then he would come over and attack me.
Because they ain't gonna come back.
No,
they gonna say
That's how manipulative
Because they
he
gonna
was.
say you wasted our time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it's a fake call.
And then
I'm surprised they couldn't trace he was calling from wherever he was calling from.
Remember back then, we had
Oh, it
didn't
wasn't
have
none of that
they
stuff.
have that stuff where you can
Right,
trace.
you right.
And the thing about that, the piggyback is, I had a Arabic neighbor,
Mhm.
so you couldn't tell if they was home if they wasn't home.
Mhm.
And he tried to pull, I'm getting the girls the week, not your week, because we when in our divorce, I had Auntie Trisha. Auntie Trisha said, we gonna tap it out like this, and this. I'm taking you to all your lawyer appointments to make sure you go.
Mhm.
Because I know he's scared of me. I said, yes, ma'am. So we was there. He had the other dope boys in the apartment tell him when I came home who I was with.
Oh, they was
what I
tracking
had-
you.
Yeah, they was tracking me.
Wow.
What I had on. Remember who we talking about though?
Right,
Mr. Taylor.
right. But
And
none of
so-
these people knew that he
but-
was beating on you?
His friends did, but they ain't want to say nothing because half of them is the only
But
person.
you-
The only person I know he
That's
ain't
But you
beat
gotta
up is
remember
Bogey
too.
Red.
You gotta remember
I'm only
too.
two.
But you gotta remember too. Back in our era, when we was younger, a
Yeah.
lot of that shit that happened in the black home stayed in the black home. Remember
Yeah.
that?
Oh, yeah, that's why
And remember,
Bridget.
a lot of stuff is just not being
That's
openly talked
that's
about.
why
That's
Bridget's
I know.
doing
That's
it.
why I'm doing this.
They
Right.
didn't do all that.
about that.
We were going through.
Yeah.
You was just suck that shit up.
Well,
Yeah.
and you-
But that's
you
why
don't
we got
say,
all these
or you
people
don't
going
know.
through mental illness.
And that's
Yeah.
exactly why I'm doing this. Cause
And
no.
that was
This
the thing.
stops
Is
now.
they-
This
they-
stops.
Even when you leave,
Take that into this new
they
generation.
look at you. Because he was on the step. I'm finna get the girls. I said, this not your weed. Well, I'm finna get them anyway. So they in the house crying. I'm like, you ain't finna get my churn. So he went up and he slapped me. But he slapped me so hard, the neighbor that lived next door came out the door. He said, hit her one more time.
Mm.
And I looked, I said, sir, he said, I don't care. I'm not from this country. We don't hit women.
Right.
We don't even beat our kids. We do punishment, but we don't. He said, I put my wife on punishment. Her spend too much money, but that's it.
Yeah.
We don't beat. And he hit you for nothing? No, lady. So he called the police. And he said, sir, did you witness? He said, yeah. So he wasn't even out here. I did. He handed and said, pow!
Mm.
No, that man was lying. He was in his house, but it was loud enough for him to hear it.
Right.
Because we was right there on the porch.
Yeah.
And I was on their side of the porch.
Right.
So he just went ahead and said, but that was the last time he came to the house. That was the last time I saw his little friend peeking around the corner. That was the last time. Because in front of the police, he said, you know, I have every right to kill you. You steal my property.
He said that in front of the police?
Because you're still my wife.
Nobody talks
And
about
that's-
that
and
marriage
that's-
aspect either.
and
That
then-
nigga used to steal my car, and the policeman used to tell me I can't report.
You can't
stolen
report.
because
You
he's my
can't.
husband
You
and
can't
his property
report.
too.
You can't report money
Mhm.
stolen. You can't
Yeah.
report jewelry
So he
stolen.
literally
You
used-
can't report
see,
your
yeah,
car.
because
it's
your
y'all.
house.
It's y'all.
It's,
Yeah.
you two live
You
in
can't
that
put
home.
him out
And
because
that's
the
so
mail.
wrong.
If the mail come here,
Oh, yeah.
like y'all just
Yeah.
want him to kill me at this point.
And
But that's
Right.
anybody. You know that. Anybody use your
but
address
with a
can
domestic
say,
violence situation, you think you would like,
I
and
know.
then depending on what cop comes, is the luck of the draw. Because sometimes the cops will come and be like, well, if I take him to jail, I gotta take him
you
too
to
because
jail
you hit him
because you
too.
hit.
Right.
That's the thing.
So you
Even
had
though-
you had records at this point? Because remember you said you wasn't
He went to
calling
jail.
at first.
I wasn't calling at first, but he's been in jail. I want to say 3 times on record. 2 of them, I was pregnant, and then that one time for that gun charge.
But why couldn't? Okay, so when you came back with the gun and the gun charge, for instance, you got record. Look in the system; it shows we done had these cases, so you know
That's how you know they failed
I
you.
was pregnant. He
That's
did
what
this,
they failed
you
so I'm
at.
just making this
and I
up.
had the restraining order. I had all that
Right,
shit.
and they still ain't do nothing.
That's
Yeah.
where they
There
fail
needs
you
to be a
at.
law.
That's where they
passed.
fail
But
you at.
that's why a lot.
I think that's something people need to get in.
But,
Get
but
around
they don't care.
marching
But
about.
then when Booby wanted to kill the nigga, y'all trying to put up a whole case against my baby because of his background. What about the other nigga background? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like shit.
That's the thing from back then to now, because we have more laws that help us now than back then. Because back then, you gotta think. I still don't watch the news. Back then, you would see every 10 minutes or every other day, this police officer has beaten his wife. Or this
they
is
be doing
domestic
it too.
violence. It was so much domestic violence
Right.
during that time.
A lot
of
Oversaturated almost.
They was not even paying attention.
Right.
Girl, a lot of the police
people, the police was so busy beating their wives and
Right.
stuff,
They
and then
definitely
it was
gonna
like
believe it.
defending them. So hell, he beating you. You all right? You keep going.
Right.
And that's what the police officer said to me. Oh, she all right? He didn't touch you. I got a handprint on my face, but he didn't touch me. So they didn't do anything to him. And he said, and you're going through divorce, so it doesn't matter.
And a lot of
Wow.
times, to be honest with you, I used to try to spare that nigga. I used to be like, look, man, like I would literally call the police, but I would be telling him, like, when they get here, just leave.
Just leave.
Just leave. I don't want to have to say you hit me and you go to jail. Just leave. You know what I'm saying? And then another part of abuse that I want to talk about too that we didn't really cover.
Mm-hmm.
There comes a point where you're no longer in love,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and you know you're just settling for whatever reason. Because there's a point I couldn't stand this nigga. Like I thought about stabbing a nigga in his sleep a few times. Like I just couldn't stand him. But
And still didn't leave.
and still didn't leave, and didn't even cheat. Oh my god, you know.
Oh
Man, that's who I should have.
Why?
And
I'm like,
that's the because
I should have slept with his best friend and had that nigga crying, and that's who wanted me.
But
Shit, I should have had that nigga boo-hoo crying.
But that's the thing that he has manipulated you so much
It is.
that even though you're not in love, you still have that respect for that relationship.
Wow.
So you're still trying to, even in
And
the
I-
end, you're trying to hold on.
It's that holding onto your character too, that whole being loyal, right?
Yep.
That's why I said learn how to be loyal to yourself. Fuck these
For
niggas,
real.
but
it's like at that point, you being loyal to a fault.
Yes.
At that point, it's loyal to a
But
fault.
I'm at the point now of where, like with him, even at times when I would try to leave, like one time I left, because the whole reason why I went to a shelter the final time is one time I left and I went to go stay with my mom. He started breaking into my mom's house.
Damn.
And it became an issue. So a lot of times we didn't want our issue to pour out onto our loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times it was just best, I'm just going to go away. Just like how I took it for the kids, I'm just going to take it for everybody. I'm going to take it for my mom. I'm going to take it for my dad. I'm going to take it for my brothers. Because this nigga, you would threaten out, like I'll kill your mama, or I'll kill your brother.
Yeah.
And
people have.
And because he has followed through on every threat he's made to you, you're like, why would he lie now? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If he'll do it to me, I
He's
know
gonna do
to
it
his
himself. Yep.
kids and his wife, he damn sure gonna do it to my family. So, and I remember even when I first got with Booby, I remember he was so mad at me one night. I remember he was like, you ain't got no reason to be scared of this nigga. Why do you act like you scared of him? Because he was still stalking me when I first got with Mike.
Oh wow.
He even used to Facebook me and be like, oh, I seen you and your nigga eating dinner today. How was dinner? He used to stalk me and Booby, right?
And they
And I remember Booby was so mad at me because he was like, why the fuck is you scared of this nigga? You think I'm gonna let something happen to you? And I had to explain to Booby, It ain't about you being tougher than him.
Right.
He ain't got nothing to lose.
Right.
You want some
A bullet.
tough shit.
Look, he's somewhere sitting.
He
He
in
can
the
shoot
bushes. He
y'all.
can snipe you.
Right.
And our life is over. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, we the one with everything to lose. Like, he done lost his wife, his kids. You got it all.
Right.
He ain't got nothing
Nothing
to lose.
Right.
And legit, I used to like,
And I've seen this on TV
and
all the time.
sis, and beyond the whole saying, "Oh, if I can't have you, nobody will." I used to ignore that stuff. But this nigga said to me one time, "I will sit in the penitentiary and do life happily as long as I know you're not here."
Damn.
This nigga has said that to me. And I don't think he's lying, because this nigga done drove the car off the bridge with me in the car with him before while we was on a fucking argument. Just drove the car off the bridge. And by the grace of God, we didn't die.
What?
He is crazy.
Oh my God.
I have never met anybody so, and the crazy part,
Like, where did y'all land?
it was that exit, like, you know how you come in, you know how you come down Beach Boulevard, you get on like that little bridge, like you're going to like downtown. We were exiting University, you know how that little thing go in a circle? And when he did it, we landed in the grass right there, in the little circle.
So he's trying to kill both of y'all.
But the car flipped.
But that's the thing.
That's control. That you know, like,
control.
I'm not scared. So next time I say something, like, listen. You know what I'm saying? So whatever I say, I'm gonna do it, because. So then you start. So then no matter how outlandish his threats are, in the back of your mind, you gotta be like,
oh,
this nigga crazy. He might do this. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Says I was in the car one time going to Plush, and I was on Golf Fair, and I stopped at that racetrack on Golf Fair to get gas, and this nigga pulled up on a bicycle and jumped out the fight.
Wait, how he knew you was over there? This was before navigation. This was before navigation, right? This was before the cell phones, the trackers.
No, you still had the cell phones. Because even Johnny had
Plush.
the cell
But
phone.
do you know how long?
And they had the text to beat people.
But do you know how long you have to have been pedaling that bike to follow me? And I stopped for gas. What if I didn't stop?
Oh, wow.
And I was with Kelly at the time, my
Look,
best friend. And Kelly came out the gas station and saw him. And Kelly was like, "You ain't finna hear her."
Oh, never mind. We can't talk about that.
I was just like, so sis, like people don't understand. Like, looking back, like, I had some crazy stuff. That nigga was hiding on the roof one time when I was at my best friend house, looking at me through the window like, he crazy.
I mean, I ain't trying to act like I ain't had stalking stuff,
So-
but I guess it sounds worse when it's domestic violence attached to it. Because I've had the stalking stuff, like when you're breaking up and they trying to get you back, but not like.
Just imagine it intensified 2 million
I tell people
times.
it ain't cute, because
It's
even
not.
till today, by the grace of God, I have not ran into him.
Mm.
But I always tell myself, which is another reason why Booby had got me gun trained. Like, I'm trained to the T. But even though I should hate him, I don't. Like, I wish him success. I want him to move on. Like, I low key want him to win the lottery so I can get my back old child support. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I want him to be happy. So I can be happy. You know, I want him to act like I don't even exist. Like, I don't even know who she is. That don't claim me. Don't even. But my whole thing is, I legit have to tell myself, if I run into him, I have to be ready to take his life, because if I don't, he will definitely take mine.
Still to this day?
I don't know.
This is the thing.
So it's
So I have to be
that fear
prepared.
stays in the back of your head all
all
the
the
time.
time. Yes.
Wow.
That's why we were trying to postpone, and we talked about everything.
Oh, I know y'all was postponing, but y'all wasn't finna run from it.
The simple fact that it never goes away.
Right.
It never leaves.
I never even thought about that. I just thought you
in a loving relationship with another person, and you know that other person won't do that. You still have in the back of your mind.
Is he gonna do it one day?
But you know what I tell people?
Oh, I
you
didn't
know
think
what
about
I
that.
tell people? Booby get it the worst. Even though he's been the best man possible, I tolerate so much less with him because I took so much from that first one.
Right.
So it's unfortunate, and I love him more. It's just I can never allow another man to put me in that position.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he gets it the worst.
I didn't think about the fear of
and
is he gonna change one day? Is he gonna snap this new man?
And because you've gone through that, because what did Don do? Don did something and it triggered me, and I flinched all the way. He said,
And baby, you be going off on Don.
Oh, sure.
Wait, because Don just be like
he
this.
was doing something with my glasses. He was doing something, and he said, "Baby, look at you." But his hand was in a fist. but he was trying to grab the corner of the glasses because it was my old glasses. And I had broke it, and he had saw it, and I saw fists. I didn't see
But his
him
hand
grab
was like
it.
this right here.
Yeah, he to pinch the glasses to take them off because he was fussing about it. And see, he was fussing, and I saw fists, and that's all I could do, and I flinched like that. And he said, "Well, what the hell wrong with you?" I said, "Nigga, you don't put your damn hand up at me like that." He said, "No, what?" Because we was done with the honeymoon. We was done with the honeymoon. So I'm like, okay, the honeymoon comes.
Where the representative?
The honeymoon.
What they call them, representative?
But your mind goes back. The honeymoon over, because remember, I ain't have no whole. I had James, Cece, and one other dude, and then now Don. Other than that, I ain't have no whole look because I ain't want no men around my churn. Right. I ain't want nobody because this nigga talking about, hey, who at your grandma's house in that car? What damn car? I go to the front. I'm in the back. I go in the living room. Grand got company. How you know somebody in the damn house?
Darn.
But I think,
and that's the thing. But it's so it never goes away. We learn to block it, and sometimes we learn to try to deal with it, but it never fully goes away. Sometimes you can hear noise. It'll trigger.
But not only that, I went through a phase not too long ago where he reached out to James.
He did.
He found him on Facebook and he reached out to him. And even though I was like, you know what, you're an adult now. Mm-hmm. You can choose if you want to have a relationship with him or not. And but I knew that he was so manipulative. My fear was he was going to use my baby to get back. Try to find out where I'm at or whatever, and it was going to go left. So and at the time, James was going through this phase where me and him was bumping heads a lot. So at the time, it was like, Mama's just being mean. I had too many rules, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, the last thing my baby needs to go over there and meet his side of the family because they're all about that bullshit. And they're going to support him in his bullshit, especially if it's against his mama, right? Mm-hmm. And I had to literally give it to God because I was so scared of one, James having a relationship with him, and then he pulls my baby the wrong way, and then two, him being a part of my life again, right? But at the same time, he's an adult. And I found out later after the fact that James had his own ulterior motive for why he wanted to see him, but at the time, I didn't know that. So that was fearful for me, because in reality, my boys hate him. Okay. Because one of the hardest decisions I had to make that his family resents me for, and they don't even know the truth, when me and him had split up, mind you, he's never did anything for my children, even when we were together. Right. And when we were split up and the court ordered him to pay child support, he never paid me child support.
So you ain't never got child support?
I never got child support from him until, I want to say maybe about 3 years ago, I got like this little small lump sum because they found him like working. Look how petty this nigga is. Once they deducted like 3 or 4 out of check, the nigga quit his job. That's how petty he is.
And see, that's the same thing that happened to me.
Oh, but not only that, the nigga found out through his other family members that Booby had adopted the boys, and he went to child support and told them they're not my kids no more. They've been adopted, and I should be taken, and y'all should make me pay rearrears. And child support is not going to force. They don't force back pay as much as they force current pay. Oh, you see what I'm saying? So when they found that out, they stopped the accumulation of it.
Oh, but he still have to pay the back.
He still has to pay the back pay. He owed me like almost like $60,000 in back pay. That's why I said I wish he won the lottery. Girl, them niggas do not care. I had 3 boys and they wanted him to pay me about $300 something a month for 3 fucking boys.
No, and see,
he couldn't even do that.
My lawyer pushed because I helped him get his CDA license and everything else. The lawyer pushed for $960 something every 2 weeks.
Let me tell you about mine.
So
mine was a prayer in itself. He was trying to take me to court. This is how God works. That's why, first of all, that's why can't nobody tell me about my God. Because God don't play about his baby girl. I'm going to say that now. Mm-hmm. Whether I ask or don't ask. When we were going through our bad relationship, this nigga had wrote a bunch of bad checks on my account. And I had a warrant out for my arrest because he wrote all these bad checks under my name. They'll do it. Right? Mm. And I'm mind you always making these bad financial decisions and I get left to fix it. Wow. So that's why a lot of times I couldn't get on my feet because you always doing stupid shit. Stealing my car. totaling my car, stealing JA money, to go buy drugs, talking about you gonna flip it and you never flip it, and then you get mad when I question you, like, what the fuck is the dope money? Just because you're mad because I'm smart, I can put two and two together, So I get a notice that he wanted to take me to court to get custody of my baby. And I almost didn't go to court because I said I have this warrant on me. And if I go to court, they're going to take me to jail. And that's why I'm so glad that God made me who I am. And I'm one of the people, I believe in accountability. Mm-hmm. And I said, fuck it. I don't go to jail. I'm not going to lose my kids. I show up to court. He's running late. He don't show up yet. He's running late. He with his new girlfriend. I guess she bringing him. He running late. I'm in the courtroom crying. The judge look at me and he say, why are you crying? And I tell the judge, he don't even want these kids. He's just trying to take control of me. And he knew if he got them kids, my life would have been over. Right. Because that's...
You probably would have killed yourself.
You know what I'm saying? Because he would just have me at his whims, and I had to protect my children. And so the judge said, was he abusing you and stuff? And he said, why you ain't divorced him? And I said, because I don't have the money to. And the judge looked at me, and to this day, I even maybe 3 years ago, I wrote him a letter just to let him know where things are in my life so that he could be proud of what he did. He said, I want you to meet somebody. He pulls me into the hallway. The guy's name is Bruce. He said, Bruce, I want you to help this young lady. He said, this is my friend Bruce. Bruce going to help you. Bruce ended up being a lawyer. Bruce filed my divorce for me pro bono.
Really?
Oh, wow.
And see,
that's how I got divorced.
But when he got there, what happened?
Shout out to Bruce.
I don't know if he ever got there.
Oh, yeah.
The judge can end whatever they want to.
And
he probably said,
but that's how good this judge is. This judge, so I didn't know.
Oh, what about the warrant?
I didn't know. He didn't address none of that.
Oh,
and I feel like God be in my favor, because even one time I was living in a Hubbard house and I was speeding and I got pulled over. And I know for a fact a cop had to have seen my warrant. And I was boohoo crying. And I said, look, I'm going to be honest with you. I said, I'm a victim of domestic violence. I'm staying in a Hubbard house right now. My kids are there. I'm actually coming home from work. I was right there in the Hartsbridge by Hubbard house. And I said, I promise you that my license was suspended. I said, I promise you, I'll just go straight to the thing. And I know he had to have seen my warrant. And he looked at me and he said, go straight there and don't come back out. And he let me go.
Wow.
That's why I said, you can't tell me about my God. Right. God knows when to intervene. Mm-hmm. Right. So I done been in a lot of situations where I should have gone to jail and I did not.
Yeah,
because God's hands was on me. I can't explain it. It just was. There've been too many instances. Even just a real quick, simple. One time, me and him got into an argument real bad. James was a baby. James was a newborn. And we were fighting over the baby. He was trying to take my baby. And I was like, no, I'm still young or whatever. And I was so upset. I was like, this was another era of depression when I was depressed. I think I had postpartum depression too, and I didn't realize it. Mm-hmm. And I was going to commit suicide. So I popped some pills, a whole bunch of it. Mm. He ended up leaving, but before he left, the neighbors called the police. So when the policeman came, I didn't want to put him in jail, so I didn't say he hit me or whatever. I was pretty much I just don't want him to take my baby, blah, blah. So the policeman was just leave the baby, blah, blah. And then he ended up saying something like, she around here trying to kill herself. So the policeman asked me, he said, you tried to kill? And I said, no. I said, I did not talking full shit. No. The policeman leaves. I done popped all these fucking pills. I'm in the house by myself with my motherfucking brand new baby. About 30 minutes later.
You have that drowsy.
I opened the door. It's the policeman.
He came back. He said, I know you told me you didn't do anything. He said, but something not sitting right in my heart. He said, can you just go to the hospital with me? Took me to the hospital and they pumped my stomach. Wow.
If he wouldn't have came back, I probably would have died.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? With the newborn baby and everything.
Oh my God.
I can't explain why God does some of the stuff that he does.
Because you're supposed to be doing
only
this.
I know it's God.
Because you're supposed to be that first lady that you don't want to be.
What you're doing right now.
And your first lady calling is supposed to be you working with women. We've told you this for years, Malaya. You, and then yours, I almost feel like how you I see you sitting there crying with them kids coming to school and you see it. I almost feel like, Moody, you might need to get you some kind of foundation where when you notice them kids, I don't know if you need to get their mamas and try to help them get out, find out where they can go.
Well,
work with programs.
The mom in the one situation because one of the babies attacked me, and he was having a real meltdown, and he attacked me. And I said, well, I ain't got no problem. I'm going to call your mama. He said, you bet not. Hello? He grabbed that book bag. Bam!
Threw it at you?
No, he hit me, holding it still, right in his face. And it didn't faze me because I knew what the baby was going through. Girl, but when the baby got his jacket, you would have thought that boy hit me with a sledgehammer in my face. I screamed so. And the whole class looking at this. So I got to back him. Oh, child. And I screamed. His mom on the phone. I said, come get him right now. You got to come in the office, get him. So I hung up with her, called the office, come get him. Come get him. Come get him right now. He done hit me in the face with this book bag and this jacket. I am not even worried about it. I don't want him around my other children because they're seeing this and I don't need this.
Right.
You gonna get me a whooping. No, you gonna get you a whooping because you the one did this.
He gonna go hit his girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you what happened. I'm not gonna be like this. You're not gonna touch me ever again in your life. Do I make myself clear? So I did my little report. So I didn't know because it's been so many shootings, they automatically gave him assault. When you get assault,
then you feel bad.
That's a weapon.
It's my fault.
No,
A backpack, a weapon, a jacket, a
I
weapon.
didn't feel bad because I knew what he was coming from, and that would have been an eye opener for Mama.
Yeah.
But Mama didn't really care. She's like, well, everything man, this man and that man. So the next week, he didn't want to get in the car with his mama. I said, hey, you got to get in the car with your mama. You already know what's going on. So he gets in the car. Wow! I do you just like daddy. I'm a grown man. He said, I'm grown. You 9 years old. So
yeah, he definitely going to tell on somebody.
I got him, and I told him, I said, you ain't going to never have that again in your life. We cannot physically prove what's going on, but you can. And you're the one that can save your mom. I said, so, little boy, until you grow up and be that man that your daddy say you is, without putting your hands on other people, then that's what you do. The mama don't want out.
But she probably don't want out because she can't afford it.
She can.
Oh.
She her.
Oh, wow.
She her. She worked 2 jobs.
Wow. She just want a man. Some women just want a
And
man.
see,
They
they
don't
want
want
the
to not
man
say, I
so
don't have a man.
bad that they don't care. And
I
she
didn't
like,
want his ass no more. It's just every time I tried to leave, he made my life worse. It was just easier just to
stay.
Yeah. And then not only that, he isolated me from my family. So I had nobody to babysit the kids. So in a sense, the trade-off was me working and him staying home to watch the kids.
And
because there have been times I would leave him and my mama wouldn't even watch the kids and I would lose my job. And then if I ain't got no job, me and my kids damn sure. And remember, being home with my mom wasn't the best situation either.
Right.
So
because you couldn't get like childcare and stuff like what it's called back then, the little title.
I
don't know, the little title, whatever they give for the vouchers.
The vouchers. But see, that's the thing.
Even now, those things I mean, those things are stupid. They have DCF have a child care program that you can apply for, but you have to have a job for at least 6 months.
And what they gonna do the first 6 months to keep the baby?
And work at least 15 hours a week.
Yes.
Because that's what they did.
And if you make too much, they're gonna say you don't qualify anyways.
Yep.
Wow.
So it's really not helping you at all.
No. And if they gave it free and affordable, but the thing with her is her family is in California. And all of his family is here. So she moved got that support. Here, and she has no support. But she works at home, and he works construction. But she makes 3 times as much as he does.
And you have to remember too. I mean, abuse, majority of it is emotional and mental. That's why, like, when those people kidnap those people, like, even when they let them go out free, they don't run away.
They don't run
because
away.
it's an issue with the mind now. And
So
you may look at this person because, like, just like I look at somebody now and be like, that's your abuser. I ain't scared of him. I'll beat his ass. But they're scared of their abuser because they know what their abuser is capable of.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because like the dad used to come up there all the time, and we had the meeting after he hit me, and I was like, so Dad, how do you feel about this? You're just a woman. He can hit you at any time. And so my principal left out.
The daddy said it?
My principal left out. My AP left out. And I said, I ain't your baby mama. And I don't care about this job because I got me a little piece of degree and I will beat your ass. He said, Miss Taylor. I said, and by the way, the police will be to your house tomorrow because they did cause it as assault. What? I'm going to have it as, I feel threatened for my life. So I told my principal, I said, I know y'all outside talking to that parent, but I need you to stand right here. I feel threatened for my life. And as a survivor of domestic violence, I feel that you should never be around me again.
Mm.
My principal looked at me. I looked at her. I said, no. What I told you before, I can do and not go to jail because this is my witness. He was infuriated. When I say that man turned completely red.
Wow.
The boy didn't come back to school for 3 days. I said, how bad was it? Miss Taylor, this time he beat me and he beat my mama. I said, you ready to go to the office and say that? He said, I can't.
They be scared.
Oh my God.
And see,
Lord.
I can call DCL,
The
but
kid got to collaborate.
they gotta collaborate. Mama not gonna collaborate. She already said, I'm not finna call on him. That's my man. That's my baby dad. I'm not finna do nothing.
They black?
Mm-mm. That's the trick. They not. Neither one of them. Not mixed. They're Caucasian.
Everything
And so,
happens on everybody's own time. Some
and
get it, some don't.
And it's been 3 years that I've known this baby and been working with him. And the thing about it is, domestic violence hits everybody that's involved, from the family that's looking in, from the kids, the grandparents, the moms, the dad. It touches even though we try to save those people, we're not saving them. We think we're saving them. And then our mind has been programmed somewhere. I don't need this to come to my grandma's house. Oh my God, I want this boy to go somewhere. I ain't got nowhere else to
And
go.
some of it
And
be
so,
like lack of education. Because I had a friend who had to go to court because she killed her abuser. And I remember being in court, and I remember being so angry because of the things they were saying to her. And I remember the prosecutor saying to her, well, if he's so abusive, why is there no police record on file of him abusing you? Except for like one time she called. And she said, because I never called. And they couldn't understand that.
I was scared.
Yeah, and they couldn't understand that. So somebody could just beat on you and abuse you and you're not gonna call the police? like to them, it just didn't like make sense. And I remember thinking to myself, like, that makes a lot of sense. We be trying to protect them.
I think police need to take a training on this.
well, they do, but it's not just the police. It is also our judges, our lawyers. It's everybody that comes in contact, because even we take
I think people become immune to it. And they feel like in their mind, she's always going to go back.
Right.
So why even bother?
Right.
And that's not always the case. And in a lot of the cases, too, where these women die, the woman's not even with them no more.
Yep.
Right. They've already left.
Yeah, that's when they leave. You're right.
And
it's like when they leave, they go live in another house. You're right. Even
with my friend, she wasn't with him no more.
The one just...
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
She wasn't with him no more. Her and her babies and this nigga came to her house, killed her, left her there with his 2 kids in the house, and just went back home and just act like nothing was wrong. And her mom had to find her body with the kids.
Yep, they do that. And because they don't think about anything but themselves.
Right.
It is all self.
You're right, Malaya. Most people have left.
So then
or in the process of walking out the door and they kill them right
and
there.
And it's hard because naturally, we're still trying to be a loving co-parent person, because we're like, we want, even though as messed up as that sounds, we still want them to be a part of their child's life. We should become a bitter baby mama, but we don't. Oh, and that's why I never finished my story. So his mama, remember, his family's never had nothing to do with my children after that. A few years back, his mama got cancer. She was on her deathbed. And he sent his niece to my house to ask me, her dying wish was she wanted to see the boys before she left. And I wasn't against it, but I was going to give them the option. And I asked the boys, and James and Jamal clearly said that 1, they didn't want to see him, and 2, Jamal was so angry, because I think that's where a lot of his anger issues come from. Jamal said, I will go see her, but if they start to say anything about you, the visit is over.
Right.
I don't want to hear their side.
Right.
Because, him and James witnessed everything.
Right.
So my only stipulation was, because at first I thought we were going to the hospital, but she had been transferred to the house, the sister's house. And I said, he cannot be there because I don't feel comfortable dropping my children off and having to pick them back up, and he's there.
Right.
And his sister said, I can't guarantee that. Okay. So I thought about it long and hard, and I talked about it with Booby, and Booby said, you and my kids ain't going if he's going to be there.
Right.
He's like, it's just that simple.
Right.
He was just like, because it's only two ways it's going to work out. He going to hurt y'all, I'm going to kill him. Right. So he was like, so that's it. Y'all, they're not going. So I tried to bargain again, and she said, I can't stop my brother from coming over here. So we made a decision. They're not going.
Right.
His mama died. The new rumor was she's such a bitter baby mama. She wouldn't even let them kids say bye to my mom. No, y'all didn't let them.
Right.
Because I gave the option, even though technically my kids didn't know her.
Right.
So the fact that they were even willing to see her was just them giving grace, because y'all have not done nothing for my children.
Right.
And that's when I had to learn, you can't feel bad about doing what's best for your child, despite the fucking rumors, despite the guilt, because it guilted me and the shame. But if it comes down to it, I have to protect my children.
Of course.
And even with that, I'm applying it now. That's why I said I'm not playing family no more.
Right.
If my kids don't know you by auntie, uncle, granddaddy, grandma, that's on you.
Right.
That role is not for me to fill.
Right.
So if my kids don't know you by that, that is on you.
Right.
And I'm not going to force it no more. Say hey to your auntie. Say hey to your granddad. No.
Right.
If my baby don't know that, that's on you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And because now I have to protect my children. I'm not repeating the fucking cycle and the drama of family issues onto my children. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not going to do it.
Right.
So what this brings forth for me, because my other question was, but y'all kind of already answered it. So my next question on this list was, why do people assume that it's something that you did or said to cause domestic violence to occur? But here's the thing, listening to y'all, it seems to me like it's literally just the fact that it seems to be just the fact that you exist. It's nothing that you've did or said or anything. It's just you.
It's the whatever the abuser is going through. So it's not anything we've done. I could be sitting right here doing this.
And you walk in mad and just hit me.
Bill. Yep. Because something didn't go right on the job, or something didn't go right at your mama's house, or your girlfriend ain't answering.
Done piss you up, right? The girlfriend done pissed them off, and they want to go. They really want to get out of the house.
I'm doing something,
but it just
with Balky done made me mad, or
that just seems like you just need emotional regulation, because it's like, why are you blaming me for something that went on in your life?
But you know that saying that common sense is not common?
The
older I get, I understand that. Especially with social memedia. Because you see some people make the dumbest comments on social media. Like, victim blaming, I think, is just people who lack compassion.
Right.
This is a this is compassion.
It really is.
Nobody compassion
until it happens to them.
Yeah.
Right. Then you want everybody to understand.
Right.
Yeah. But when it happened to somebody else, that's you. You know, what's that saying? Better you than me.
It ain't gonna never happen to me. Okay. And you can't, and that's why I say you can never say never. And that's why I give so much grace and empathy to my students, to the people I love, and the people I'm around. Everybody like, oh, you always stay in the house. One, I stay in the house because I got real bad allergies, and I can't even hardly breathe the air.
Right.
And two, I'm not into all of that. I'm not into this one, that one. I'm not finna have a lot of men around my kids or my grandkids. I'm not doing that, because I know the value of myself now. Right. And I learned the value of myself by going through this domestic violence. And I have more worth than what I even know I have. And that's a lot of times people at the job, why you mad? Oh, girl, I love you though. And they don't understand that. Or Like Nikki will tell me, "Oh, you the strongest person I know," and I'm looking at like, what's she looking at? Because I didn't see me.
Yeah.
And I didn't see my accomplishments.
Right.
I just did them because I know I needed to do them.
Right.
Like for graduation, I had a little thing. I had a drive-by because COVID was out and everybody, and Nick was like, "How to put it on this week?"
I know.
And, but it worked how it was supposed to. And that's just like with domestic violence. That domestic violence you went through made you even stronger than who you were.
Mm-hmm.
And it allows us to teach other women. It allows us to teach other men. It allows us to teach the children. It allows us to teach everybody what it is like. No, you don't have to understand it. No, you don't have to deal with it. But know that it's out there. Know that it's real. No, you don't have to live in it. Yeah, you might be dirt poor. Baby, you were dirt poor. I done begged, borrowed, stole, pawned, did everything I needed to do to make ends meet sometimes. But it was worth it because when I laid in that bed, I didn't have to be choked. Or when I sat in the living room and looked at my little TV, I ain't have to be slapped because it wasn't what he wanted to see.
I told some of my girlfriends that because before I got with Mike, I was so at peace being by myself and not having to answer nobody. It was just me and my kids. I was really scared about getting into a relationship with Mike.
Yeah.
And the only reason it works is because he's a different type of man.
Yeah. No, he showed that love. He showed that Bible love that she was talking about.
Yeah.
He showed you that.
But you know, he was such a street dude. I was like, I didn't see none of that, right? So to like just how much of a gentleman he is, you would have never known that by looking at his past. Because I'm like, you a street nigga, you right here busting heads and stuff. Like, when I walk with you, you might bust me in the head, you know? But he was so patient and loving with me. And one thing me and Booby had like always agreed on.
I think he got that from Mom.
We would never argue in front of the kids.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because my son's in a relationship now, and his girlfriend got mad because he told her that.
That's
true. Like, your parents ain't perfect. He was like, I didn't say my parents are perfect. He was like, but I've never seen my parents argue.
Right.
And I didn't realize that effect until he said it. And I was just like, maybe I've seen us argue. But Mike was conscious of that because he knew you can't scream at me, my boys, you know. So he was conscious of not arguing with me in front of them. So we talk stuff out when they're not around. You know, not saying we don't have it because I be giving him the business sometimes and he give it to me too. But he's so patient with me. He's loving. He's mom-mannered. He's not jealous. You know, like when others try to control me, he'd be like, "No, babe, that's sexy. Wear that. Go out with your girls. Have fun." You know, like I've been over here all these hours. He ain't. You know what I'm saying? He might
some mom be like, "Well, where you at? God darn, it's good."
But that's what we.
I don't know now. I am in a Tesla. He might just be looking at my location. You know, that Tesla mark everything.
He might pull up.
Okay, right.
But that's
like he did the Mario concert.
Right. So okay. So let me ask you a question then, because it was on my list. It was just further down. So like with him showing you that type of love, like was that what gave you the courage to move on? Because see, that was my thing. What gave y'all the courage to move into another relationship?
I'm gonna take you first. All right. So this is what happens when.
Because I'm skipping around. I got other questions, but
when you get ready to move on, you have outgrown him. And you know you have outgrown him. You have outgrown that relationship. You have outgrown everything possible. You're not in that pity party no more. You at that, just like she said with Caleb. I don't give a fuck. Right. Mm-hmm. I got to go. Right. Lord, you saved my baby. And that me was, Lord, you saved me. Mm-hmm. I can take my kids. Baby, make sure they all right. I'm at that point where I don't give a fuck. Mm-hmm. I don't care if I got to sleep on the street. Right. I don't care at whatever going on. And y'all know how our family is. I ain't finna sleep in no street. I ain't gonna be outside. But see, we don't know. But we didn't know that. But you had to get to that. Yeah, and that's the thing. I told you, he beat me from Friday to Sunday. Right. And I mean nonstop. Friday you came in the door and slapped the shit out of me. What I did? The girls wasn't home. Now he never beat me in front of the girls, but that one time. That's Sunday.
Really? He don't beat me in front of the kids.
But see, that's the thing. He didn't. He said he was breaking the pattern. I'm like, you ain't breaking shit. You trying to break me. So I mean, and a lot of people like, oh, you said rape. Okay, if you
People
do not
can be raped in a marriage.
Thank you. If you do not
You
want
definitely
to
can.
have sex and you are forced to have sex, that is rape
Right.
because you are unwilling. And
Right.
they say, oh, that can't happen. That's your husband. That's his right. No, baby, this is my body.
Right.
And my right is, I don't want you to fuck with me. Don't bother with me. Let me get my rest and go to goddamn sleep. And I mean, just for excuse my language, but that's how you get, that's how you feel. You tired.
Mm-hmm.
So you beating on me Friday. You're raping me Saturday. And then you're going to beat me down like I am a man on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
By that time, and that man told me, well, can you hear me? I said, no, sir. I lost hearing for a whole year.
Wow.
In my left ear, I used to have to turn to hear people. People like, what is you doing? And poor mama, she trying to hear everything that you say. I went to an ear, throat, eye specialist.
Wow.
That man said, baby, I don't think you're going to get that hearing back. I said, you don't know God like I know God. Okay. I ain't worried about it. Right. We was at a church and pastor anniversary at my friend that I graduate school off of Mandarin Road over there by the Publix. It was a little back church. I said, my head hurt. I don't want to say nothing tonight. She said, you better not do that. The Lord got you here for a reason. I said, okay. Okay. And Gran was watching the girls. Normally I take them with me, but that night Gran was watching the girls. I said, my head hurt. I don't want to sing this song. I had my little cotton in my ear. I was ready. I was ready not to do nothing. I got up, went, because I was supposed to lead the song with my mom. I said, Mom, I'm not ready for this. She said, okay then, I ain't singing the song. She got up there and she ain't sing the song. So that left me to sing the song. I was so mad at my mama. And I'm like, I'm in church. If I cuss in this church, I'm going to hell. You know how you just think that? Because you've been through so much that you don't want to disappoint the ones you love. But you done been through so much till you like, I got to do stuff for me.
I'm just getting there.
And then, baby, hey, they can tell you, me too. Even though it's been over. We was married for 18 years. And it's been over that 18-year mark that we've not been together, that I actually do stuff for me. But to get up there and sing that night, I got back in my pastor's car. I said, my mama's head still hurt. You could have sung that song with me. She said, no, I could have sung that song, period. But it wasn't for me to sing. Because the Lord told me when you got up there, he needed you to do that so you could be healed. I said, but my head hurt. She talking about, come on now, little crazy girl. We going home, go get the kids. You gonna stay in my house tonight. Next thing I know, my ear bleeding. I was crying. I said, I ain't finna tell my mama nothing. I'm finna lay down and go to sleep. Well, I had a blood clot in my ear because one of the vessels had burst. But it broke skin also because that's how much damage he had did. And I was like, but it's a year later. Because see, that's the thing. Your healing process, not only physical, it's also that mental. And mental takes 3 to 4 times longer than your body to heal.
Right.
And I got up, I said, okay. Went in the bathroom, did my little ear wash that the doctor had taught me and everything. I said, I put my cotton in my ear. I'm acting like ain't nothing happened. I go in the living room. My grandma was like, oh, you don't feel good, huh? Face still like, even a year later, my face still, it took a long time for that to go down because the tissues everywhere. And you don't feel good. I said, no. Yeah, you're not subbing today. I said, what? You're not going to sub today. So I didn't take no subbing assignments. I just sat there, did what I did not like, watching them doggone stories. And I was like, ooh, that TV loud. Ooh, Grand, that TV loud. She said, no, it's not. I said, yes, it is. That TV loud. You need to go to the doctor. Made an appointment, went to the doctor. Let's check your hearing. I said, yeah, because everything kind of loud. Because you got to think, I done lost this,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
So you
I'm
used
only
to hearing
I'm
from
used to hearing
50%,
one side.
right?
So I'm like everything loud. I'm so everything's so loud. So I get to the doctor. He's like, let me check that ear again. He said you had bleeding. I said, yeah, I was trying to have it. Cause my mom was sitting like right there. I ain't want to upset. Cause we have been so manipulated and programmed
to be pleasing.
That I didn't want to upset
Like,
my
it's like
mama.
a scared child. If I be good, my mom's not gonna spank me.
And that's how I was. I was still in that terror phase. And he said, "Oh, did you do your little earwash?" I said, but it's just everything loud." And I kept doing this. He said, "Okay, rinse out your mouth." I told my mom, "What are they gonna do?" He said, "I want to check your throat." I'm gonna check my throat. He checked my eye. He said, "You still getting a blur?" I said, "Yeah, that go come and go. That's no problem." And he put the stethoscope in there and he said, "Oh, okay." I said, "Well, what's wrong?" He said, "You can hear now." I said, "I can hear now." He said, "Yeah, your other side heel. You can hear." I said,
Wow.
"That's why it's loud?" He said, "Yeah, baby, that's why it's loud. It's working
Wow.
again
You had
now."
not lost it that long. You didn't even realize
You didn't
it was
even know.
coming back.
Wow.
No, they told me it wasn't never coming back.
Wow. But God made it come back.
Yes, he did.
That night. If
Because
you wasn't,
you were obedient.
I was
and you sang
obedient
that
and I
song.
sung that song.
right.
But the thing about it is, we don't know what God has in store for us.
That's why I gotta be
So
obedient.
you got to do what you're told, even in our domestic violence situations. Like she said, she was mad at God, but you ain't give up on God.
Right.
And see, I never gave up on God, but I gave up on my situation.
Right.
And see, that's the thing, that it takes us
That was
to
good.
get a deeper understanding of God. That's why I was like, dog, is Song of Solomon, is that about God loving me or me, a man loving a woman? And Mr. Grover used to tell me, think about it. Who loves you before anybody else loves you? My mama. He was like, come on, little girl. Think like an adult. I was like, okay, Mr. Grover. Because I could talk to Miss Brenda and Mr. Grover. And I was like, okay, I'm going to think like an adult. Oh, that's not about a man and a woman. This is how God loves us and how we should love others. And so I dove deeper and deeper and deeper, but I didn't lose who I was. And then he had to place it on my heart. Don't regret that you went through what you went through.
Right. And that's the word.
I made that possible for you to go through it. Because you got to come out on the other end and give it to somebody else that needs it.
Right.
Hello.
And I see it in the little kids all the time.
That's what I said. That's probably your thing.
From the mental health to the mental strain. And so that's why they always say, Miss Taylor, why you tell us once a Taylor kid, always a Taylor kid? I said, I'm going to let y'all come down the hallway early. So, and this is my second year as a teacher, but not as an educator. And so my first class, good morning, Miss Taylor. Why you had to go home Friday? How you know I went home Friday? The rest of the people don't even know. You went home Friday because I came by here and you weren't here. I saw you Friday morning, but you weren't here. You weren't here Friday. You weren't here Monday. You weren't here Tuesday. Where you been? And you better not be sick. I was sick. What's wrong? We need to bleach the room. We need to clean. They came in and started getting lights all white. The one little boy started pouring the bleach on the table like he saw me. They were cleaning my room like, I said, once a Taylor kid, always a Taylor kid. And my class saw that. My class say, Oh, they got to get out of our room. So anytime they walk down the hall, they'll see one of them other person. She ours. And they'll come in there. They get the Clorox wipe. They don't smell the bleach. They get the Clorox wipe. They get the cleaning off the wound. They clean up. I said, what is y'all? I stepped out to go make copies. What y'all doing in the room? Y'all ain't even supposed to be in here. Well, Miss Taylor, didn't you say once a Taylor kid, always a Taylor kid? So we can talk to you about anything. Why can't we help you with anything?
Mm.
And for me to hear that, it just made me cry. It just brought so much emotion because I have been protecting for so long from what I've been going through and what I went through that it's hard to receive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of times what victims are. They're so much of a giver and want to please that person they love so much.
And people abuse it.
They abuse it. And then you feel trapped and stuck and alone and scared and guilty and shame. Because you've been programmed for so long.
And nobody even talks about I've been surviving for so long that while everybody see it as strength, it's not strength.
It's not, yeah.
I'm always in fight mode.
Yes.
Because I've been fighting my whole fucking life.
That's good.
And
Real good.
And you want to not fight.
You just want to be.
But it's so hard. And that is like the beauty of like me and Booby's relationship. Where I tell people, like, me and him have this bond that, Lord forbid, if we ever got divorced, it's just not going to go away. Because you have to understand that in the midst of me going through my abusive relationship, he witnessed some of that, right? Because I remember I worked for him. He saw them nice old boy pull up in my car, beeping the horn, come and pick me up 2-3 hours late while Booby had to sit in the club with me, and because I wouldn't let him drive me home because I knew that was gonna be a whole issue, another nigga dropping me off, And then you gotta also think, Booby came from this thing where he didn't have an example of what a good marriage is. He didn't have a good example of what a good woman is because his sister, his mother's been trying to survive their whole life too, in a sense, right? So he was out there dogging out girls. They're materialistic. So deep down, he had some childhood trauma too that he was trying to heal through, and his healing through it was addictions and parties and hoes, but he wasn't the best man either. If you ask any other woman he dated, she gonna have something bad to say about him. You know what I'm saying? But then I think when he saw the innocence in me, and he saw what this dude's doing to her, although I would never hit a girl, I could sort of see some of the trauma that I may have done to these other women. You know what I'm saying? So I remember when we finally made that decision after him pursued me for 4 years, and I said to him, you know my situation. If you're not ready, leave me alone.
Right.
And I remember he said he went home and thought about it. And he did. And he ended up calling all the girls and telling them, hey, I found the one. If we can be friends without having sex, we can be friends. Otherwise, I got to end it here. And I remember him even telling me, like he used to compliment me. You're so beautiful. And then, I say something like, no, but I'm fat or I'm this. And he's like, you don't know how to just take a compliment.
Right.
Yes.
Or if he'll be like, you need anything? No, I don't need anything. You going to get your nails done and give some money? No, I don't need your money. Like, I didn't know how to receive. And then I remember, like, the one thing that stood out was, remember one time me and him got to a real big argument. I was pissed, too. And I packed up. Because, he don't hold grudges. I hold grudges. We get in an argument, nigga, I might not talk to you for a whole month. Like, I hold grudges, right? We get to argument. Booby, like, 5 minutes later, he in there, like,
trying to talk and you mad.
You want to go out today? You want to go have dinner? I'm like, I want to eat with
Don't
you.
talk
You know what I'm
to me.
saying? Yeah, give me a kiss. Like, he don't hold grudges. But I remember I got so mad. I packed up all his stuff, right? I'm like, this nigga getting the hell out of my house today, right? I got so mad. I packed up all his shit. He walked in. And he looked at all his stuff on the floor. And he looked up at me like so serious, because I know he's serious. Like, I've been talking shit, but when Booby gets serious, I calm my ass down, right? Like, he has this thing where he doesn't yell at me. Yeah, he doesn't yell at me or anything because he knows the trauma I've been through, and he doesn't talk down on me. He doesn't call me out my name. Like, he's a total gentleman. But I know when he gets serious. So he walked in and he looked at all his stuff on the ground. He looked at me. He said, "Oh, you used to them little toxic ass niggas that run when shit gets tough."
Oh yeah.
I'm
You had to pack it all
Yeah,
back.
so I'm like rolling my eyes, like whatever, nigga, like whatever. Yeah, like took
It
my 2
would have
hours to
sat
throw
there.
that shit back.
It would have sat there at least that night.
Right?
I
Like,
ain't
put all
putting
that stuff
shit
back.
back.
But
Maybe
But
tomorrow.
I thought about it. He's right. I am used to like arguing with these niggas,
Mhm.
and maybe that's your excuse to leave the house for the day, right? So they
Right.
go
Do
do their
whatever.
girl.
Oh
whatever.
yeah, that's what it be
Yeah.
back.
They will
Right,
leave
the
there.
fights
They'll come
and
back, but they'll leave.
Right.
But I had to realize I wasn't used to no grown man saying, "This is just like I'm not running. We're gonna
Right.
talk this shit out. Like
Right.
you know, like put my stuff back. Like
Right.
so I was just like, well, damn, you know, like is he right? I am a little, you know.
Right.
This is,
That's
you know,
But that's your survival mode.
yeah.
And it's so easy to slip into that survival mode because you've been in it so long.
That's true. But it was like refreshing because while like he's that for me, I'm that for him.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
And even like with the whole thing, remember his dad's a pastor,
Right.
but Mike didn't go to church. I was brought up Jehovah's Witness, and one of the things about Jehovah's Witnesses, you don't go to other churches.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So when I first like got with Mike and I found out his dad was a pastor, I didn't want to go to their church because I was like, that's a no-no. Like you don't do that. But I remember I was just like, you know what? I need to get back into because I was trying to force my relationship back with God. I knew.
But you weren't
practicing.
practicing Jehovah's Witness.
I
You
wasn't
weren't doing nothing. Okay.
And but Mike was like, I'm not going to church. And I was like, what I look like going to your family church without you?
Right.
And then I was like, I thought like all black churches just hoot and holler, and I didn't really care for that either. So I was like, I don't want to go. But then I decided I was going to go. And Mike didn't go, so I went by myself. And surprisingly, his dad didn't hoot and holler. His dad like taught the word.
Mhm.
So I was just like, oh, this is different. And I went for the longest by myself until Mike was finally like, well, damn, she going. Because then I started taking the kids. So now Sunday morning, like, nigga, me and the kids going. You can stay home, whatever.
Mhm.
And I think one day he was just like, I'm tired of getting left. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? He got dressed and started going. And it was just crazy.
I didn't know
And,
that.
yeah, so I got Mike going back to church. Like he wasn't even going to church.
Oh, wow.
So it's just like how God works everything in a
in a
circle.
circle.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's just crazy. It's like we were like two broken people, but we healed each other.
Right.
That's why I said we have this bond that it's just no one's ever gonna take.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because
And what's your thing called? Beautifully Broken?
mhm.
Oh, yeah. You need to definitely start doing that.
Yeah, I need to get it patent, but
Yeah.
and I chose that because there is beauty in brokenness that people
Yes,
don't
correct.
see.
They don't
You know what I'm
see.
saying? Like,
Mhm.
it's like, and then I also wish people could be more open to have like an honest conversation. Because a lot of times, even with me, when I first started sharing that I was like a domestic violence survivor, I was still shameful because you'll get those that hear you, and you get those that judge. And you just want to snicker about it, right?
Yeah.
But I had to tell myself this ain't for them. And I
Right.
started realizing for whatever reason, people who don't know me think I have my shit together more than what I have it.
That's all they need to
So
hear
when
the
they
story.
find out, like, I'm from the hood, like, you know what I'm saying? I came from a broken home, like, and I've been abused. They just be wild, like, oh my God, like, you know, like, because they just think I'm so stuck up and bougie. And I'm like, it's not me at all. Like, you just haven't gotten a chance to know me.
Right.
And it's like, but you'd be surprised when I share my stories, even people who don't openly say it, they'll message me. And they may not have the guts to talk about it. They may, you know, whatever, but they'll message me like, you don't look like you've been through that, which whatever the hell that looks like.
And then
they'll-
two, they looking at
yeah.
you. I don't mean to cut you off, but then two, they looking at you because they looking at the skin. They looking at the difference.
Yeah.
They looking at your features. So they like, oh, well, what's she been through? You know what
And
I'm
then people
saying?
think like because of where me and like Boobies at right now in life, that we've always been here, but we haven't. Like, and Nikki can contest to that. Like we've been through the slums. Like everything we have now is of God, and people need to realize that. So it's not even about the materialistic thing. It's just everything we have is of God. Like we prayed for this. You know, like everything we're living right now is like a seed that was sown that has bloomed. You know what I mean? And people don't understand that. Like we prayed and worked for this. It didn't just happen.
Right.
You know, and people miss out on that.
Right.
Yeah, and because they let fear control, and that's where I used to have a saying: "If you give me a lemon, I'm gonna make lemonade." Because I done been to hell and back while I was on this earth. So if you gonna throw that lemon, I got you some lemonade.
Right.
May not be sweet at first, but it will get sweet because God gonna put that honey in it that we need. And see, I've always been
Hello, God put that honey in it. Yes, for the bar.
I've always been that person that if Nikki or Brittany call on me, I'm gonna try to be there because I know what it feels like to be that isolated.
Me too.
and not have somebody. Vanessa called on me. I'm gonna be there. That's my other cousin. Felicia used to call on me, baby. I'm right there. I mean, that's our oldest cousin. That's the ace boot coon. My brother now calls on me. I'm there. I mean, you have to be able to take what you've been through, learn from that process, and move on to be a better person. And sometimes it's not easy. It's hard. You want to quit. You want to die. You don't want to go through it no more. You go on so many emotional roller coasters that you got to say, this ain't nobody but God.
Right.
Because I should be crazy one, blind, partially deaf, all kinds of things. And we don't know what people go through, but as a survivor, not just of domestic violence, but a survivor, period.
Yes.
I tell people I'm not the victim, I'm the victor.
That's it.
Amen.
You won the war because God took care of the battle.
Right.
You just had to stand because this is going to help our future.
Right.
And so many people want to push things under the rug and hide it. Just like I just told them when I walked in the door, I said, oh, this is going to be hard for me.
She said.
And like, I can talk about mental health. I can talk about education. I can talk about all these things that I've been through. But this one subject, it's so deep and it happens so often and so much that people overlook it.
Right.
But then when somebody dies, everybody want to pay. Well, why that happened? You know why it happened. You was watching it. You just ain't say nothing because it wasn't your business. Or you didn't say anything because if she like it, I'ma love it.
That's all I'm saying.
I hate that saying.
And that's what people do, but they're not realizing what you're compromising. That's why I told you about the little boy and his family. We asked her. She said, I ain't going nowhere. It ain't bothering me.
But you know, I will say to go on what she said, I feel like if I would have had like a dad figure or if my mom would have intervened and somebody would have stepped up to him like, we ain't scared of you, like you're not going to do this to her, I think I would have gotten out sooner.
But did they know?
But that's
it was going on.
At one point they didn't, but at a certain point they didn't know because he started coming to the house doing it, trying in front of them too. Basically, they were calling the cops and stuff. So I'm like with her, like because I've been through it. I'm not like, man, if somebody did that to me, oh my God, like I wouldn't care if she hated me, like I would lose my mind, like I'm gonna get her out that situation. You not staying, you know what I'm saying?
So, question: What would you have wanted somebody to do? Because I know you said people see it, people like, oh, that ain't happened to me, ain't got nothing to do with me.
Give me support.
What would you want? Because this is something
yeah,
people need to know.
I would have wanted the support. Like people would say, I'll be there for you, but they're not there for you. Because sometimes the support is too much. You may have needed to watch my kids while I go to work. And all this is going to be unpaid because I don't have nothing to give you.
Right.
I may have needed you to give me a ride to work. I may have needed somewhere to lay my head, you know what I'm saying, without being able to pay you rent. Like, just give me the support. And even if it's emotional support, like you got to understand, everybody was so judgmental. I've been outcast. So I couldn't even speak my truth. And because I had no outlet, it was even killing me more because I had no outlet. And I had to go and deal with this crazy thing every night. Nobody understood. You know what I'm saying? So even if I'm not ready to leave, it's just like with religion. Meet me where I'm at. Okay, you just need me to hear you. Because I do it with my friends now. They say what they say, and I say, do you want me just to listen or do you want me to like give my input? Like, because if you just want me to listen, I'll just listen.
And that's good because see, some of my friends call me and they be like, yo, I just need you to listen. Can I just talk? And I'll be like, all right, cool.
And see, with her, it was the support. Mine was the fear.
Okay.
I was so afraid of what may have happened. You know, we had a crazy granddaddy. And we had a crazy grandma. So...
And your uncle was riding around looking for him, too.
My oldest child was, too.
Yeah.
So My thing was not the support, because family gave me the support. Even though my daddy wasn't talking to me, my daddy was doing everything under the sun for them children and my grandchildren. But period.
And
Not
in your
even
mind,
just-
you don't want
but
either
you
side
don't-
hurt.
And that's the thing. I didn't want nobody hurt. So the fear of anybody being hurt was what made me feel the trap. I had the support.
I had that too. I had that support. I didn't have the support or that.
Because my grandma would support me, my mama would support me, my uncles, my cousins. I had the support. But the fear overtook everything because I didn't want nothing to happen to my
I don't
aunts,
think we.
my
Well, I don't
uncles.
think we knew until
Well,
that.
I'm
one
gonna be
episode.
honest. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know
A lot
because
of y'all didn't
think
know.
about it. I
You
remember when I used to come
go
over your
over
house, and I promise you, I used to come home and tell my mama, "Oh my God, it's so much fun! Like it's so much fun over
Because
I
there."
didn't even realize we're putting on the act the whole time you here.
And no
Yeah.
clue, no clue.
So he didn't
We
have
used to
to
have
when they come over.
no.
No, he didn't do it in front of the girls
Okay.
either. Most of the time, the girls were gone to his mama house or my mama house.
Right.
It was very few times, like when he started first hitting me on the butt, like the girls was there now, and not shaking, but just hit my mama on the booty for, y'all nasty, go in the room.
Right.
And so with her having a comment is when we was by ourselves mostly.
Right.
So that was the thing. And the way he acted in the street, because y'all know that nigga get a gun and shoot at you immediately. Ain't care. I don't know how many people he done shot and got away with it.
People
So,
don't
just think
understand
about
that fear.
That fear
Mine
is so
sleep with a knife
mindful.
under his pillow, and I'm laying on the damn pillow. You got the knife under, and I'm just thinking, man, he's just gonna stab me.
Yeah, but see, and that's the
That's
thing,
too
because
much.
he would have the gun.
I would have had a knife
His
under
hand
mine
be
too.
like, his hand be like this, and he'd be like, you ain't cheating on me. And I be thinking like, this chick about to stab me, and I ain't
And you
doing
just
that.
laid there.
Yeah, yes, you're not doing. It could be a scene that came on the
You
TV.
like, I might say something wrong. Like,
Yeah, a scene come on the TV, or it could be anything.
Wow.
And see,
Thank you, Jesus.
the thing that was bad was he had so much control. He would say, "Hey, let me teach you how to use the gun." I was like, "Okay, for protection of the house and the girls and stuff like that. You know what I did? I sell dope on the side and all that." So I'm like, "Okay." So baby, I'm 16. We still dating. Hey, I got the ride. I'm in the car. We in Chevy Impala. Baby was booed up. Baby was learning how to drive. Ain't have no license. Thought I would. Until the guns start coming in the car. The guns start coming in the bedroom.
so he hitting you with it.
Child, the gun in the top of and the thing about it is, he ain't never hit me. Now this the key. He ain't never hit me with the gun above my ribs. If you break a bone, if you break a rib, I gotta go to the hospital. Something punctured. If you hit up here, something punctured. You hit up here, something gonna break. But I hit you in your stomach. I hit you in your thighs. I hit you in your butt. That's just a bruise. I can hit that all day.
And
How you know this stuff? They done studied that?
No, it's that they don't want the marks to be seen.
Yeah.
Some stuff you just can't lie about. Like
And
You
that's
can't,
the thing,
you
though.
can't
You
lie
wanna
about a
inflict
bruise
the
on your
marks.
stomach.
they're professionals now. They used to it.
That's
Like,
the crazy. Like you want
That's
to
what I'm
inflict
saying.
the marks,
So,
but you don't want them to be
but
seen.
you gotta
You bold enough to
done
hit me. You
hit
bold
me
enough to hit me.
on the butt with your hand so hard it done left a butt print. But I'm just, what's your butt so far? Oh, he hit me on the booty. We was playing.
Yeah. But nobody ain't gonna really think that.
Ain't nobody gonna
hit
think
me on
that.
my butt.
Because
And you
some
hit
men
me
do
on
that
the-
playfully,
You
literally.
hit me in the stomach. Oh, we was rolling
and then you
around
gotta
playing.
think like how small I am. And I used to be like Mimi size when I was like with him.
That's our
And he beating on me. This big ass
Oh,
nigga
wow.
beating on me. Just look how little Mimi. She's so fragile. You know what I'm saying? So,
He was big.
He's bigger than me.
No, I'm saying he's like James size.
He's tall. He's probably about 6 foot. And he was stocky like Jamal.
Okay, Jamal, more Jamal.
Yeah, more Jamal. He was stocky like Jamal. So
Okay.
think everybody. And
I mean-
you beating on me, and I'm Mimi size.
Wow.
And then you gotta also think about Johnny was a semi-pro boxer, so
Right.
he was going to the boxing ring every day after work. That's all you seen was everything was ripped, everything was muscle.
Yeah, hers was like the neighborhood bully.
And then
Like known to be the neighborhood.
And the
Everybody.
thing about it
Nigga
is,
whoop ya. Ooh,
Yeah, everybody. He fought everybody.
yeah, he did. Or shot him.
Yeah.
Or shot at them.
And then y'all had them pit bulls too. Then.
Yeah, he let them loose on the shit, baby. Oh, Lord.
And see, and it been catch-22 with your abuser, right? Because they protect you from everybody else.
But now,
Yourself.
but
Yeah. So you be
baby.
confused.
Mm.
Yeah, you do. And
Wow.
the thing about it is, he learned where to hit in boxing.
Oh yeah.
Oh
So
my
when he was
God,
doing
I
his
didn't even
boxing,
think about that.
He was
Wow.
learning, hey, if you hit here, you're gonna break a rib. So if you get that uppercut jab, so he knew from my navel down, he can't break nothing but maybe a hip, and he not gonna hit that hard or hit that area of a hip.
But that let you know the day that he hit you
No.
hard, he ain't care no more.
No. He told me, I
I'ma
am
kill you.
beating you, so don't nobody else ever want you.
Wow.
He said that as he went to beating me, and that was the first time he.
Is he
but-
still around? Like, do you see him?
No, he lives in the Arlington area. The girls contact them when they want some money because in our divorce, they divorced him too. Because after he started yelling at them, they was like, "You ain't finna do us like mama."
Right.
So I ain't know Auntie Trisha had helped them get the lawyer.
Oh, they got what is called?
My same lawyer, and they divorced him.
Okay.
So when I divorced him, all the papers was divorced. And I was like, well, when y'all was going to tell me? So the judge was nice enough to do it all at once. So everything was signed. We had the same judge. Because when we went to mediation, what happened was he said that he didn't have a job at the present time. So the man said, well, you got a CDL. Didn't she help you get your CDL
I mean, it depends
license
on your age.
and everything?
Certain
He
age is
said,
emancipation.
so you bring about $1,800 home. She need half of that. So he was supposed to pay $9,700.
So they did emancipation. Is that what it's called?
That's different.
No,
that's
not
like when you a certain age.
You
That's
can
like when you
actually
young.
divorce
Your parents.
your parents.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can actually divorce your parents.
Wow.
And the lawyer didn't charge the girls that much because he knew that I was struggling to pay and everything. And he was like, okay, because the last day of my divorce, Auntie Trisha had to do something with Uncle Robert. And he said, you just standing here. I said, I'm waiting on the bus. He said, so we don't have no issue. I'm going to just go ahead and drive you over to Miss Ivory's house. And we drive to them. And so everything was finalized. And then he was like, I'm not paying her child support. I doubt before I pay her child support.
See, and the judge that did my divorce, he made it where he gave me full custody of the kids, and he made it where he had to take like an anger management class, and he had to take parental classes. And the judge made it where he had to go back before him, and he was going to be the only judge that could lift those restrictions. No other judge could do it. So because he wanted to make sure like he followed through.
Right.
So if he wanted to be a changed man, he could have followed through.
Yeah,
He didn't.
He didn't. And see,
So he didn't take them?
No.
Wow.
And Johnny didn't even take his either because his was part of our mediation. And it should have been done and completed by the divorce. Because it wasn't done and completed by a divorce, that's why he went ahead and pushed through the divorce. He pushed through to make sure I had all the child support that he never paid, baby, because Mr. Taylor could have bought me 2 nice houses in Queens Harbor of what that man made him pay, and he ain't paid nothing. I'm still getting my $110 every 6 months.
Once every 6 months.
Once every 6 months. You are in arrears at right now is $276,000.
Darn.
And that's when the youngest baby turned 18. So I don't even know what it is.
I'm like, they should pay interest on child support shit, because
and that was
She ain't gonna never get it. So that mean he ain't working?
He's
nigga don't deny my blessing. That nigga gonna win the lottery. I'm gonna get mine.
He do drunk driving, but he getting paid under the table.
But how do they once get it? So he has to go on with a company at one point
No.
for them to. He
went
sent
back.
it in.
No, this what happened.
Every blue moon they'll go to jail.
Yeah.
And they gotta pay like $1,200
to
like,
get out,
to get out, and that
jail,
$1,200 goes to child support.
Oh.
Yeah, and see, and the thing about it is, he was working. Remember, we worked for the portable toilet company together, and so I had all his legal documents because I was the secretary and the dispatcher. So I had all of the legal documents, gave it to my lawyer. He said, "You're not stealing because you're the secretary." And I had my boss, Mr. Danny. He wrote a letter. He said, "This is the true statement. She my secretary. He my driver. This is what you make." I allowed her to get the copies of his pay stub and his driver's license and everything that go in his file. She does have written permission. He went and got his daughter, had his daughter notarize that sucker. It's a legal binding document now.
Wow.
That judge say, "Oh, you smart and little cute thing." That judge was a trip. He was an older man, but he was helpful because his wife did something with Hubbard House, so he helped me with the girls and clothes and trying to get my little apartment in Emerson Arms, and he helped me get my little food stamps. So yeah, you might have to go to the bottom, but you're already at the bottom,
right?
But you know,
and that's
something
the
you
thing.
said earlier that made me, because I want to say this to Brittany, even with her journey. I was studying my devotion, and I was watching, I can't remember who it was, but they said something that triggered me, and I thought about it. They was like, God always gives you the dream, but he never gives you like he gives you parts of it. He never gives you the full thing, right? And I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, why not? Like, because it feels like you're teasing me. Like, it's like, you know how
I feel like that all the time.
I know, like, you know how you just know God has something for you. So I know in my mind, like, he has something amazing for me. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I know it's going to happen, right? But I'm like, but why won't you just like make it simple? Just tell me, right? But so I was thinking about how if you knew all the stuff you had to go through, you wouldn't do it, right? You just give up on the dream. Like if God said, "Brittany, I want you to start, Sugar Rush," but then he said, "You're gonna like spend all this money on a truck, and then you're gonna lose it, and the kitchen's gonna go out, and then you're gonna be like, I didn't want that dream." So he don't show you the whole thing because there's gonna be a lot of detours, and if you knew in advance, nigga, you ain't doing it. You know what I'm saying? But all those detours teaches you something.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So then with your next one, it gets better and better.
Right.
You know what works and what don't work. And I always tell people knowledge is the key to everything. Once you have all this knowledge, that's why a lot of these people are making money off just teaching.
Right.
Knowledge is the key to everything. She could start a class about owning food trucks.
Right.
She done been in the game. She knows what's.
Right.
Let me.
She said that when they were doing it.
Did I
she
not
tried
say?
To write
I was trying
pamphlet.
to write a freaking thing and give people the game. I needed. Just go back to what we was talking about. I needed the support, and I was trying to get Mama Cassie them to support me in it because it's somebody else who done been through it, and they helped me through it.
Right.
I didn't know everything. They helped me through it. Shoot, if it wasn't for them, like I wouldn't have known what to do. She took my hand and walked me there, drove me there, and everything, and went step by step by step. And then by the grace of God, my process went faster than hers. Right. Them people was approving my stuff left and right. She was like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna take a month." It took me like a week or two, if that. So hey, it's just Lord, yeah.
She said that with this because Brittany was I don't like talking to people, but God.
I said that, but I'm like, God
telling me I'm supposed to
do this, and
she
I'm
told
like,
Tisha that Tisha was talking about how she hates people with addiction, and her son's going through addiction.
Yeah, but I'm like, that's
how
God teach you though.
I hate it.
That's what I freaking said.
We just what I said when
I said that to Trees too. I told her that.
That's why I wasn't even so much mad at God when I went through my abusive marriage because I used to be that girl that used to like judge other girls for going.
And see, that was and see this was look
2 weeks ago. Brittany said the same thing. She said, "Auntie, I'm telling you, I don't even like to talk to people. So for him to put this in me to be talking." And I told Brittany, I said, "I remember the first time you did this." And I keep saying it every time because I'm at awe because I know my child. She talked to me. And if she close to you, but Brittany ain't finna talk to you like that.
Think about this.
I know this God.
But think about this. I've learned to start being obedient to God even when I don't understand. You know, people always tell you obedience is better than sacrifice. Because people like, well, her, what if she'd have never sung that song? she'll still be walking around right now deaf.
Right.
Sometimes when you're not obedient, you're not only hindering somebody else's blessing, you're hindering
Yeah,
yours,
yours.
right?
Mm.
And that even goes back to, like, I think I told y'all, my husband had out of nowhere had to have massive heart surgery. Like, he was in the hospital like months and months back. To this
I
day,
forgot about that.
till this day,
I
they don't
did
know
too.
what happened. And I remember, and I was a babe in Christ. I didn't even, mind you, and I was Jehovah's Witnesses, so I didn't really understand how
They
this
don't
whole
think
Baptist thing worked. And God put it in my heart, and God said, you need to oil him. And I said, oil him? I said, I'm not a pastor. I'm not going to oil him, right? And I was not obedient, and I ignored it. He going to see specialists after specialists, meds after meds. So finally, God kept putting it in my heart. So I said something to him. I said, baby, I know this may sound crazy. And I said, but God told me to oil you. And he laughed. He said, you ain't my pastor. And he laughed. So when he laughed, it made me feel even worse, right? I was like, oh, yes, I'm really not supposed to oil him. So we let it go on. And time go on, and God kept saying, you need to oil him, So finally, I was like, no, look, let me just do so I can be obedient. So I oiled him, I prayed over him, and nobody else, but he is my living witness. Since that day I oiled Mike has not had any heart issues since that day. Until this day, they still don't know what happened, but he has not had that issue.
Wow.
And only me and him know that.
And see,
Wow.
It's obedience.
That's obedience.
Mhm.
It's obedience. So now when God tells me to do something, and it's like, when you start studying the word, you start realizing the Bible is like a lot of hidden lessons and metaphor. Like, as much as I've read, like, about Jonah being eaten by the whale or whatever, right? I just took it as that, Jonah. But I had to teach it in Bible class last Sunday. And I said, Jonah is all about obedience.
Mm-hmm.
Because God told him to go somewhere and say something. And he said, I ain't doing it, and got on the boat and went the opposite way. And the whale swallowed him.
Right.
And not only that, he was in the whale's mouth for 3 days until he asked God and repented. When he repented, God had the whale spit him out.
Right.
It's that simple. Be obedient and repent for your sin. I said, God, why am I just not getting this?
Because you had to go through the things before to get to the process. And so much that we are in a microwave society, we want to get to the end without going through the process.
Right.
And see, that's why I said I don't
I'm
have
guilty.
any regrets in nothing in my life. And a lot of people look at me and was like, you should.
I regret his ass.
No.
But that's the thing.
No, because
No,
he still
don't
gave you your
regret that.
three. He still gave you your
Don't regret
three beautiful
that.
kids,
I
your
got my
beautiful
kids from
grandchild,
Amazon. What the hell y'all talking
Whatever.
about?
your beautiful grandbaby. Hey, that grandbaby wouldn't be here.
Look, I'm finna put,
that grandbaby
baby, I'm finna
wouldn't
put
be
that on a
here.
shirt and sell it. I'm finna put that on a shirt under this shirt class tomorrow.
And much
I got my kids
and
from
much as
Amazon.
Moody don't know, like you say, this my cousin, and I tell her all the time, like, this child has been, you've been through stuff. This one I've been through a lot. Like, I don't know nobody who has been through what she's been through, and she's still surviving. Every time I think I want to fall, I don't even know how she could do it. The stuff that she do, I have cried to Brittany, like, how Moody go through this, like. But then I look
we
at
be
it
crying
and
to each
say,
other.
she can do it. I can do it. Like, I be thinking about every situation that anybody could probably go through. You done been through, right? Just about. I'm talking about anything you can think of. She's gone through. And I know you done been through a lot too.
I keep telling you, when I get to heaven, I see my little guardian angel, I'm gonna beat his ass. Because I'm like, you know how they say God giving you like his test and struggle. I'm like, why are you in the front of the line volunteering me?
Right.
I need you to get your ass out of the line.
Right. And that's what I be telling. It can do anything. Moody can do hair. Moody can cook. Moody can do it all. But like,
But that's
still be going. I be done fell out.
because I have gone through so much, and I've learned from to get back to the domestic violence part is that I don't have to settle, and I'm gonna be me. So
And at one point, we felt guilty about that.
Yeah, and see, I can be Moody, I can be Anthonyette,
Right.
I can be Taylor, and I can be Miss Taylor.
Right.
I could be whatever you need me to be, but the first thing I'm gonna be is me. I love my kids, and y'all know I love my children.
Right.
Jesus. But I also love me. And that's why I have to say I cannot regret what any of the process that I'm going through.
Right.
Like a lot of people don't know what I go through. When it rains, y'all probably, oh, the air gonna be fresh. I'm sitting in the house crying.
Mm-hmm.
Lord, I ain't gonna be able to breathe today. Or Lord, please don't let me swell up where I can't.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? He's not. Because he's not done with me.
Mm-hmm.
I just learned what my true purpose is.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be a Sunday school teacher. I used to play with kids all the time. Then I'm like, I ain't never getting into school. I ain't never gonna be a teacher. I ain't never gonna do that. I'm going on 16 years in education. Because I saw what my mama went through, who was a CTR operator, what my aunties went through. I ain't gonna never do that. And that's why I can't say never.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm doing it. And it's
know.
it's my purpose. It's my purpose. Because I had to go through him beating me to start protecting children.
Mm.
I had to go through him
Because you started at
beating
home.
me
Mm.
to love myself. I had to go through him raping me to learn my value of my presence and my body. It's my temple God gave me. It's not nobody else's temple to do whatever they want to with. I had to go through losing my vision for a little bit to understand and see the different things that God needed me to see. I had to lose my hearing so I could pay more close attention when you was talking to me to understand the underlining that you had in your voice. I had to go through these things. I had to be poor. I had to do these things because he was molding me into something that I'm looking at right now. I'm like, damn, that bitch bad. But I had to go through all of that because it was. He didn't say stay there. He pushed me through it. So anybody that is out there that is listening, you don't have to stay in that situation. You don't have to stay being hurt, afraid, confused, mad, upset, not understanding, feeling loved and hate, or guilt, or shame. But you need to grab onto something that's going to make you pull yourself up out of that mess that you done got into and say, I am more than a conqueror. And move on in your life because your life is worth it. You are worth it. You are awesome. You are beautiful. Yes. You are made to do whatever it is he has for you to do. You are somebody, and nobody in this world can tell you that you're not important, that you're not somebody. From a child as a baby to a later 102 years old, I don't care who you are. Move on with your life and be happy in who you are, because that's what you are made for. Yes, you might have to go through this to help somebody else, but make sure you go through it to help somebody else and understand that you are somebody.
But not only that, they always say, and people overlook it at times, but there's two things. One is I could do all things through Christ who strengthened me. Like that's my favorite Bible verse because it's facts. No matter what I'm going through, I have to remind myself because I'm going through something right now with my oldest son, and I'm learning to give it to God because I learned sometimes when I go through things with people, it's not just God working on them; He's also working on me. So now I tell myself, what is the lesson you want me to get out of this, God, right? And I've learned because I'm like you, I love my children so much. I have not allowed them to be in a position to go to God themselves because I always intervene. Because the child, the hurt child in me that nobody protected, I'm a beast when it comes to my kids.
Oh, me too.
You know what I'm saying? Like nigga, I'll beef with the nigga I had them with about my kids. Like if I gotta choose, nigga, you gone. Like my kids are my kids and mine alone. But God had to tell me. He can't even, you taught him how to pray to me. You taught him he should rely on me. You taught him all this stuff. But every time he go through hard time, you step in. So he always say, Mama did it. Mama did it. He can never even say God did it because you keep stepping in.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, let me deal with this.
Right.
And I had to step out and I had to let God deal with it to a certain extent. I had to finally sit down one day and say, as smart as I am, as gifted as I am, God, nothing is because of me. It's all because of you.
Right.
And, James' thing has been horrible. And God has consistently over time just showed me, if you trust me, I will work it out.
Wow.
Like even with James had a bad lawyer. We petitioned the judge, and the judge would not overturn that lawyer. And something said, write him. And I wrote him and didn't even know it. Like next week, James' court date came. I showed up to court. James had a whole new lawyer.
Wow.
After we had a hearing, the judge denied my baby request. He must have read my letter. He had to.
Wow.
Changed it.
Wow.
I thought they were going to put him somewhere close. They sent James like 6 hours out.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, dang, God, like, how was take his son to go see him? He's 6 hours out. Not even thinking in my mind. I know now why he did it, and then not only that, they sent him to a maximum security prison.
Oh, Jesus.
My baby, this my baby first. Why are y'all sending? First day in, he get into a fight, gang related.
Oh my God.
Yes.
My baby called. My baby say, and this crazy part is me and Mike. We beef about this because Mike's like, he need to go to a rough prison, and I'm like, no, my baby don't. And Mike like, I'm telling you, he's like, that's my son, that's me. He was like, when I got my head busted in prison by them COs, that's when I realized this was not a game. He was like, so I'm, me, mama, them COs bust my son. They better expect a lot of COs. Right. That's just me. And Mike's like, no, let me go through it. First day in, he tell me, he called and he say, Mom, he said, I got into a fight first day in over a bunk. He said, and now they keep looking at me. And he said, I think they're going to jump me. I think I'm going to fight again tomorrow. After that last phone call, I don't hear from my baby for a week.
Oh my God.
I'm like crying, stressing. And I said, you know what? I got to give to God. I got to give to God. So my prayer shifted. And I said, God, change the young man's heart who's bullying my baby. Change the CEO's heart. Put some people in my baby path that's going to recognize, who he is. Yeah, he done made some bad mistake, but God, you know his heart. And change him while he's in there because he's having this identity crisis where he want to be a thug, but he's not a thug. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So about a week later, my baby called me. And I said, what happened? And he said, I got into a fight again. He said, they put us on lockdown. And he said, and when the lockdown was over, he said, something just told him to go talk to one of the CEOs. And usually he go talk to them, they don't listen. Mm. He ended up getting this black lady. He went to her, he said, I don't belong here. And the lady looked at him and she was like, first she was just like, I don't know. But then she decided to look him up. And she said, you're right, you don't belong in here. And moved my baby. And I put him on the work camp side.
Oh,
right?
Right.
Then I applied to see him. They approved everybody. They denied Mike. And they did that before. So my heart said, write to the warden. I drafted it. First, I put it off for a few days. Then I said, I'm going to write it. So instead of writing from a standpoint like, why y'all denied him? That's his dad. Blah. I said, I'm going to go the other route. I said, I already know why they denied him. Because his record. Right? So even though they gave a lame excuse, they said, it asked, has he ever been denied a visit? And I put no. And they said that he got denied to see Fred. And Mike's thing was, he said, me and Fred was on the same case. I wasn't allowed to see Fred, but I never applied to see Fred. Like it was understood, So it's a BS excuse. But I wrote the warden and I wrote him this long touching letter to letting him know how, despite Mike's record, like he's a changed man. And at the end of the day, this is my son and I need to be there for him. So the warden responded. He said, I'm going to send this to, the people that's over the visitation. And the guy who denied it approved it, right? He wrote back a lengthy letter. Like you could tell it touched his heart. He wrote back, he said, I overturned the decision. I approved it. You'll be now able to see your son, blah, blah. I didn't think nothing about it. We applied to go see James the week that we were able to go see him, like 2 days before we were able to see him. They canceled it. I'm like, what did they cancel our visit for? They were moving him. I started freaking out again. Word was they were getting ready to move him all the way to the Panhandle. And I'm like, that's going to be even farther, right? Yes. So that's where they were shipping all the boys. So that's where James thought he was going. So I'm like, man, and we were just about to see him. And mind you, I ain't seen my baby in over a year. Because when COVID and everything happened, they stopped everything. Right. It was just phone calls. So I started getting stressed again. And I said, here I go getting stressed again. I said, I'm going to give this God. I said, God, you know what? I'm going to trust you. I said, you moving him closer. I don't care what nobody say. You moving him closer. And I put that in my heart. My baby called like a week later and said, Mom, I'm at Baker down the street.
What?
2 hours down the street, right? This is how God worked. So I said, why didn't they just send him there first? Because that's where we thought he was going to go. Why did they send him through all the other stuff? Maybe he need to get beat up. I don't know. You know, so I'm like, what is
That might be his way. Like, I don't want to go to this kind of
shit. I thought about it. Nate was at Baker. Mike applied to see Nate at Baker, and they denied him. And not only did they deny him, the CO was so nasty because Jackie got into an argument with the CO and said, how you going to deny my brother when he can't come see his brother, but my brother goes to the jailhouse and minister to the jailhouse boys. He was so nasty, he called to the jailhouse and told them, don't let my husband come up there and minister to them no more because his record.
Them some nasty people.
They are.
Right.
People at the jail is ridiculous.
And this was
Dexter used to work there. That's why he was.
And this was years ago, right? So my husband just stopped going to the jail. And I thought about it. And guess what I thought about? God knew what he was doing. Because if he would have sent James straight to Baker, I had to go through that same man for Mike to get approved. And Mike would have not gotten approved. God knew exactly what he was doing. He took me through the loop. And not only did he get him approved, I ended up telling one of them what happened. And they said, who removed your husband? And I said, I don't know who it was. I said, but he got removed. Oh, okay. I'm going to make sure he get put back on there if you want to go back down there and minister again. I said, you going to ask somebody? I'm going to speak to the people who's over this program directly. He going to be put back on there. So I'm just like, look how God worked full circle. You just have to trust God. You don't know why he does the thing he do, but you have to say
it's just what Mike said. He needed that.
Everything's on his timing.
He needed to be there. I don't care if it was a week to see. This ain't
That's
what I
what
want
Mike
to come
said.
back
He
to.
needs to know he was in a bad
Because if
prison.
he was in a camp, think about it. You come home, if he like, I could do some more dirt, and ain't nothing to go back there.
Yeah.
But you done got there. As soon as you get there, they fighting you and putting you in.
He's been fighting ever since he was in the county. They fought him because they wanted his he went in with what's those little things they be wearing, them Crocs. He went in, he got arrested with Crocs on, and they tried to fight him for his Crocs.
Wow.
Stupid stuff.
They probably said this pretty boy. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
my baby
that's
now fighting for
definitely
his
what they
life.
said.
And it's nothing more painful than a mother feeling helpless.
What, a couple? You gotta wrap it up. It's good.
I know.
She got to clip and just do like the ones that she wants to keep.
It's clipping anyway.
Yeah, it's already clipped. Okay, so this part of it is just the advice portion. So basically, the first one is, what would you say to the girl or the guy that says that'll never be me?
Never say never.
Yeah.
Number one, because God has a way of humbling you. I will say that. It's life be lifing. You know that phrase, life be lifing. And even if you don't go through this, you'll go through something else. Like I said, people miss like the abuse. Like I said, it could be mother and child, could be anything. Like it could be you always feeling like you got to live for your parents' approval and not being able to live your life. And then one day your parent died and you're sitting here like, what the fuck have I done my whole life? You know what I'm saying? Because you've been trying to live to this standard and you're unhappy. You know what I'm saying? Or you being married to somebody and because everybody say that's a good person, you don't want to divorce them, but you're unhappy because you're not equally yoked. You know what I'm saying? Like, so my whole thing is, I would just say never, number one. And number two, just, I don't know, life gonna happen whether you want it to happen or not. So I've learned to just be at peace with whatever happens.
Right.
That's
exactly.
And that's pretty much it in a nutshell, because a lot of times we say, oh, that'll never happen to me. And you don't know, because you don't know what emotional ties you will have with a certain person.
Right.
So just be cautious in what you do and how you're treated. So that's it.
Okay, so this one kind of goes off the path just a little bit, but I feel like it's important. Is it a right or a wrong way to flee from an abusive situation?
No way is a wrong way to flee from an abusive situation. Get out. Yes, you have to have the courage and you have to have the strength. And sometimes you're just going to get tired, but get out. Yeah. Because you don't know if you're that next statistic that's going to be on a piece of paper instead of being sitting in your mama's living room or sitting at a friend's house or talking to someone that you love. You could be dead. So if you have an opportunity to get out, get out because that person is not going to change.
Yeah,
And you can't change them.
Yeah, I will say if you have the luxury of planning it, I would plan it, right? Like if you have the luxury of saying I'm gonna put up some money, whatever, get an apartment, change my name, whatever the case may be, right? If you have the luxury of planning it, I would say plan it. But a lot of times, unfortunately, you don't because when you're with an abuser, their behavior is very erratic, right? And shit may be going real good, and it just goes left. So sometimes you just gotta go. You just got the courage to just go. You can't be. Yeah, because every time, the more you think about it, the more fearful you're gonna be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're gonna back out, right?
And I also realized, so just like with her, when I was ready to go, I left everything. Yeah. Nigga, you can have it all. Take the house, the car, the clothes. Like, because when I went into that shelter, I literally just had like a little basket of clothes for me and my kids, and I had my car, and we were practically living out of my car, and I had my job still. That was it. But outside of that, like, everything else don't even matter because a lot of times you get caught in a tick for tack shit. That's mine. I want this. I bought this, and no, just let it all go.
Because in the end, it will come back to you. Right. You just gotta get up and go because you don't know how your story will affect somebody, and you might be talking to a CEO of a company and he be like, "Oh, baby, wait a minute, hold up. You doing what? You having what?" Because see, you never know who.
I've had that happen. My job paid for 2 weeks for a hotel stay for me.
Yeah, so that can happen. Just like I told you, the judge's wife was over a part of her house. I ain't have no clothes for the kids. Granddaddy wouldn't let me go back to the house, so I got a few things. Mama went back and she was like, "I'm not getting all that junk," and I was like, "That's fine." But as soon as I got my apartment, because the judge made me contact him every month. Once he found out I had domestic violence involved too. And as soon as I said, "Well, we finna get ready to move in my apartment. I ain't got much," and So Auntie Trisha helped, and Jiki helped me with the furniture. And then the judge helped me with the food, the clothes, and stuff like that. So you never know who you're talking to, and they can help your situation.
And then today with social media and GoFundMe, like they're in a better situation now.
And it's so much better now than when we went through it, because when I went through it, it was only Hubbard House. There was no other.
And Hubbard House was not a good experience. I'm gonna tell you that now. Not. And it's 6 weeks max, and you got to get out. They don't care if you got somewhere to go. You gotta go.
You gotta go because they need to free that up for somebody else. But now they have programs where, hey, do you need assistance? Do you need somewhere to go? You got somewhere to go. They try to put you in a shelter, or they try to put you at Hubbard House, or they try to even get you an apartment. So they will help compared to what it is, but don't stay stuck.
That's my dream of like starting an organization like that, like give housing.
Don't stay stuck.
Like she said, don't stay stuck. It's gonna be hard. Do it. It's gonna be scary. Do it. It's gonna be difficult. Do it. Like it ain't nothing easy about it. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I think people like we take that from like the like the survivors. Like to them we make it sound so simple, but for them they're like, it's not simple. I'm uprooting my whole life. It's scary. It's it's but you're gonna have to do it. You just have to do it.
And I know I've probably heard that like thousands and thousands of times and never did it because the fear was so crippling to me. My physical wasn't that bad. I wasn't like but that mental abuse and wearing on your mental state.
It's still to this day, it still fucks with me.
Yeah. Right.
And I tell myself otherwise.
Yeah, because I have to go. Because see,
I mean, that's obvious. If you're still bringing tears.
Yeah, because
that's been how many years, Moody?
22.
You gotta remember, I was with him from 16 through 24.
Her too. It was
we dated for like 5 years, and then we got married. Because I was really young when we
so he got me when I was young.
Yeah,
so
and I was 17, and so when that manipulation,
y'all got married at 17, though, right?
I got married at 17.
I got married at 16.
He was 27.
Oh wow.
Johnny 10 years older than me.
Oh wow, I know that.
You be looking like, why did he go to jail?
because it wasn't really an issue back then,
Yeah.
and like it was like it's an issue now. But the thing about it is the playing on the mentality, and you a smart girl, you fell for that stupid
Now I'm
shit.
wondering if
And
No,
now
but
it's
people
almost
forget.
making me wonder if they trigger
But people,
a young mind.
but people forget too. I didn't have a loving home.
Mhm.
My mom was the only child, and her mother abused her.
Okay.
So and granted, now that I'm an adult, I can give my mom grace because I understand she did the best she could.
Right.
But as a child, I hated her because I
Mhm.
felt like she was just so mean to me.
Mhm.
And in our household, we never heard my mom say "I love you" unless it was in the midst of her saying "You don't think I love you?" She's yelling at you.
Okay.
But there was no cuddling, there was no affection. So I craved that. I didn't have a dad. I was the oldest. My mom would go to work and leave me home alone to babysit my brothers. I have 4 brothers. So I've literally been a mom before I even became a mom. So I tell people that all the time. I didn't have a childhood, which is why I'm so big about giving my children a childhood.
Mhm.
So I literally went from being a mom and a mother and everything in my mom's household to getting married at 16 and becoming a wife and a mother in his household. So I've never I've never had a childhood. I'm literally legit doing a lot of my childhood shit with my kids.
And
You know what I'm saying?
And I think that is a lot that goes on because I did have a mom. I did have a dad. They were divorced. I lived with my mama. My brother lived mostly with my dad. I chose to live with my mama because my mama had liver issues. My mama was sick. So I made sure my mama's house was clean. I cooked. I did whatever I needed to do.
Some of those good traits, some of them good traits is what hinder us because we love so hard. We transfer that to everybody else that may not even deserve it because she was taught at a young age to be so caring, so responsible, so loving.
Right. And that's what it is because mama always told us, grandma. We had a situation where grandma didn't and granddaddy didn't do it too much, but then we had a conversation, and so that's when we also said, "Hey, yeah, we was always over there," and me and my brother was like, "Yeah, no, y'all don't love us." And he's like, "What? You don't say it," but my mom said it to us, so we knew my mom and my dad loved us. But we didn't hear it from my grandparents. So then that's when all the aunties and we get up, I love you, love you, love you, love you.
You know what's
but
crazy?
and just to hear that, and it plays so much on our mind because some of the things that you go through when you're young and a child, they want to know about your childhood. They want to know about it, and they use that against you once because that's why it takes so long. Because y'all through the honeymoon stage, and I'm in the honeymoon stage. Shoot, you love me, baby. I'm gonna tell you, yeah, me and my dad don't get along so much,
and then it causes more tension.
Yeah, so that's what it is. But I know for a fact, mine wasn't support. Mine was just total fear. Because I used to see what he did to the people in the street, so I know he could come home and do it to me.
So, okay, so to sum it up once again, and I know this is repetitive, but it's still important. So basically, to someone who is experiencing domestic violence, whether it's a man or a woman, what what advice would you give them? I know you say just do it, just get out. But if you could think of something like just quick, just nuggets or something that you would say, what would it be?
I love you, and you should love you too.
Oh, that's good.
So that's a hard one.
That's what I said. I love, because that's what I needed.
Yeah,
I love you, and you should love you too. But every situation is different, so they need to know what they need. What is it that they're craving that they miss? So they gotta focus on them loving them, and whatever they miss that didn't come from a parent or friend or whoever, you can also give it to yourself. That's why I said I love you, and you should love you too.
Yeah, and if I had to say something, the first thing that comes to my mind, as cliche as it may seem, is give it to God.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I'm saying that is because I know when I was in that position, I felt alone. Um, with God, you can never feel alone, right? And the more you study and the more you learn about God and the more you experience God's love, God eliminates everything that's not of Him. So God will eliminate the fear. God will give you the courage. He will give you the vision. He will give you the dream, and you just have to be obedient and do it. So if it was something I had to just say short, I would just say give it to God. But again, just like abuse takes time, that relationship with God takes time. But that's the only thing that I could think of that you can give to somebody and still be in isolation is to give it to God.
Oh, that's good. And my last thing for y'all is, what would you say to your children? Like, what do you say to your children? Being as though you experienced this, being as though you know that they saw you experience this, what would you say to them? Like, if they was listening to this right now, what would you say?
Oh, my boys, they know. I tell my boys all the time that they had to grow up with me, right? Because they saw the worst of me. Like they had it the roughest. I know sometimes they think like the girls have it better, and I may love the girls more, but it's in reality, it's my boys. My boys are my best friends. Like they literally had me at my worst, and they were literally like my trial run kids, and per se, right?
Mm-hmm.
So hands down, that's why I go to war for my boys. Like they're my best friends. They grew up with me. Like they know it, and my biggest fear is my boys repeating the cycle to some other young lady. So I struggle with that. Mm-hmm. So anytime they make like bad decisions in relationships, I get scared just because I don't know if it's something that's genetic. I don't know if they could try so hard to not do it because they hate him so much that they end up doing it the same thing he did. You know what I'm saying? So I have to pray about that and give that to God.
Right. Okay.
And to my girls, it would be, don't be the victim and don't be the abuser. Because my girls saw the last. They didn't see much more. They heard the little argument, but they saw the last.
The last was really the worst one.
Yeah, the last was the worst. But don't be the victim.
Right.
And don't be the abuser.
That alone is good.
Yeah, that was a whole word right there.
Yeah.
Once again, I thank y'all so much. I mean, from like the bottom of my heart. I know this was a lot. Look, I know we stalled, but see how therapeutic this was, how necessary this was, and I promise y'all, I know y'all may not see it, y'all might not know it. I'm not like the biggest podcast in the world or anything, but it's gonna be somebody that may hear this, and you, both of you, will literally save a life. You can save a life. It literally may be somebody that's listening to it right now that's like, oh no, I see them signs. And maybe they could get out. You never know. So I just want to say I thank y'all both from the bottom of my heart for doing this with me. Truly, because I know this took a lot out of y'all. I know y'all wanted to bury it and all kind of stuff. But I'm gonna tell y'all exactly what I told Treese, and I'm sorry to call you out, Treese, but this is exactly what I told her. The things that we bury, the things that we try to hide, the things that we try to run from, God has a funny way of like pushing them things to the forefront. Like almost, it made me think about, when you're sick, or if you got vertigo, or if you whatever, all them bad things that just come up and you just throw them things up. And then once you throw them up, you just feel so much better because you got that out of you. So literally, like the thing that you running from, the thing that you scared of, the thing that you hate. And I say that all the time. And I said that on the last episode. When I decided to do this, I was scared. I didn't want to do this. I kept running and running and running and running. And one thing about God, you can't outrun him. You cannot outrun him. You can try to run to the left, to the right, wherever. He gonna corner you every time in some way, shape, or form. Even if he can't get your attention, he gonna send somebody else to get your attention. They're gonna be like, God told me you were supposed to be doing this, or God told me you were supposed to be speaking to women, or God told me you were supposed to be saving young people, or dealing with people with mental illness or addiction, or whatever it is that you're preaching, or whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing. So yeah, so I just appreciate the fact that although this was tough, y'all did not run from this moment. You might have stalled a little bit, but hey, you didn't run. You didn't run from this moment, and I know it was painful, but I think the key to life is everything in life gonna be painful. Even joyous things sometimes are painful. For example, I've never given birth, but from what I hear, even birth, as beautiful as it is, you bringing a life into the world, it's still very painful. So there is, just like, shout out to your movement that I'm finna force you on audio to push, Beautifully Broken. It's beauty in that brokenness. It is so much. It's just so much that's inside of that brokenness. So many of us, we try to run from the things that break us or run from that brokenness, but in that brokenness is exactly that right there, that brokenness, that moment, that whatever, that space, that time, that abuse, that domestic violence, that whatever, that is exactly the thing that God want to use to push you to exactly where you are supposed to be. So like I said, once again, I thank you ladies both for using that pain and using it for purpose right now, because this podcast episode is so purposeful right now. And I also want to close it out with these resources for anybody that has made it this far listening to this episode. Because, sometimes we could get so caught up in conversation, we don't even realize how long it has been going. But for those of you who have made it to the end, I just want to go ahead and put out a couple of resources. And yes, I'm a startup podcast, so no, I am not getting paid to do this, but I feel like this is important if you made it this far. So text START, that's S as in Sam, T as in Tommy, A as in Apple, R as in Ready, and T as in Tom again, START to 88788. So that's text START to 88788. Or you can also call 1-800-799-7233. Once again, that's 1-800-799-7233. And both of those resources are domestic violence related. If you are in a situation and you are fearful and you have nobody to turn to, please text or call those resources. So in closing, I want to once again say thank you to these two brave victors, not victims, but victors, for sitting with me today, opening up, being completely raw and real. And that is exactly the whole entire purpose of this podcast. And in closing, I want to tell everybody that made it this far to remember to always be authentic, be sweet, be raw, be real, be unfiltered. And that's Real Spill. Peace out.
Peace.
Peace.